A game descended upon the world, and the priest class awakened an undying talent along with a divine skill. Toxic heal is truly toxic. Priests are supposed to be weak. A healer can also be invincible right from the start. Toxic heal is truly toxic, reduces the target's HP by 1 per second lasting for 100 seconds. It can stack infinitely, and its cooldown is only 1 second. In Xi'an Nation, Wulong City, at Fengqiu Academy Senior Year Class 2. Class, the island nation has fallen. What do you think about that? Homeroom teacher Yang Yu stood on the podium, her tone even. The classroom instantly erupted into noise. Watch it on your phone. Watch it lying in bed. Watching while sitting is fine too. Yang Yu glanced around and saw that everyone was just fooling around. Her brows arched as she raised her hand and gestured for silence. Shoo! The noisy classroom once again fell silent. Remember, do not let joy or anger show on your face. Learn from your teacher. What I meant is this: ever since the eerie game descended upon Blue Star centuries ago, all nations have suffered varying degrees of monster corruption. The island nation fell because it had no high-level powerhouses. As monsters multiply, our living environment is under severe threat. You all completed your job transfer yesterday. Hurry to level up, get admitted into the Super God Academy, and serve the motherland. We must not repeat the island nation's fate. Remember, getting into the Super God Academy is crucial. 20 minutes slipped by. Suddenly her brows furrowed as she noticed a boy in the back row by the window, his head hidden behind a book, completely unresponsive. His name was Li Xuanla. He had crossed over to this world 3 years ago. He was an orphan. This world had been invaded by the eerie game. Everyone underwent job transfers in order to survive and fight the game's monsters. Professions were not ranked by nobility, only divided into 3 major types: combat, support, and life occupations. Talents varied in strength from the highest SS grade to the lowest grade, but the vast majority of people never awakened any talent at all. Each person possessed their own attribute panel and a personal inventory with a capacity of 250 slots. It could only store game-related items such as equipment, skill books, potions, and synthesis gems. Li Xuanla, however, was fortunate enough to have come with a system. Li Xuanla. Yang Yu called out, already suspecting he was up to no good. Yet he gave no response. Instead, light snores drifted out. Zhao Ritian, carry me. He suddenly blurted out in his sleep. The boy beside him looked utterly innocent and hurried to explain, teacher, we weren't playing games. He's talking in his sleep. Yang Yu's willow-like brows shot up as she said in a deep voice, Zhao Hao, wake him up for me. Zhao Hao swung his palm and delivered a resounding slap to the back of Li Xuanla's head. Wake up. You even screw me over in your dreams, damn it. Clearly that heavy slap carried a bit of personal grudge. Li Xuanla shot up from his desk like a dying man jolted awake from a nightmare body, snapping straight, eyes still closed. What's happening? Have goblins invaded the classroom? He shouted, bleary-eyed and utterly confused. The surrounding classmates couldn't hold back and burst into pig-like laughter. Why do I hear pigs squealing? He mumbled, still half asleep and muttering nonsense. The students who had been laughing like pigs immediately clamped their mouths shut, dark lines forming on their foreheads. A moment later, the classroom once again dissolved into uproarious laughter. Li Xuanla rubbed his eyes, focused his gaze, and finally took in the situation. He gave an awkward smile. Morning. On the podium, a vein throbbed on Yang Yu's forehead. It's 5 in the afternoon, not morning. Is it? As soon as the words left his mouth, Li Xuanla felt something was off and awkwardly scratched at his foot. Li Xuanla, tell me, what did I just finish talking about? Yang Yu folded her arms across her chest, staring him down, as if bringing him to trial, her tone extremely serious. Li Xuanla froze, then hurriedly searched his mind for the few scraps of memory he had. The island nation has fallen. And what else? Also that we should be secretly happy and not show it on our faces. Anything more? And that when choosing a job we should pick combat classes, not support or life professions. They have no future. Did I say that just now? HM. Yang Yu suddenly picked up a piece of chalk and flung it at Li Xuanla without warning. The chalk traced a high arc through the air and landed squarely on Zhao Hao. Fine, I admit, I really was dozing off, Li Xuanla said. Li Xuanla spread both hands, perfectly frank. You call that dozing off? This classroom is practically your bedroom by now. Yang Yu looked at him with bitter disappointment. You can lose a team fight, but the healer must die first, and yet you chose priest. Monsters may descend without warning. If you encounter them alone, how will you fight and survive? Li Xuanla checked his own talent. Talent, Undying SSS. Description, passive. Your body is immortal. You can be injured, but you cannot die. Undying. If the system hadn't promised that choosing priest would reward him with the Undying Talent, he would never have picked that class. After a full half-second of deep deliberation back, then he had decisively chosen priest. What job could compare to an Undying Talent? As he was pondering how to answer Yang Yu's question, a voice suddenly echoed in his mind. Ding. You have a system quest to claim. He immediately opened the system quest. 1. Say to your teacher, fine, I'll come clean and stop pretending. I'm actually a hidden big shot. Reward upon completion, priest exclusive skill book. Toxic heal is truly toxic, absolutely insane. 2. Remain silent and humbly listen to your teacher's lecture. Reward upon completion, a thick illustrated compendium of black stockings, extremely pleasing to the eye. He hesitated very much. In the end, he chose option 1. As a healer, he was desperately short on damage. He only worried that speaking up would get him punished by the teacher. Bracing himself, he spread his hands. Fine, I'll come clean and stop pretending. I'm actually a hidden big shot. The moment his voice fell, the classroom plunged into dead silence. Every student stared at him wide-eyed in disbelief. He actually dared to say that out loud. A priest class. Where did he get that kind of courage? At that moment, the voice in his mind chimed again. Ding. Congratulations, you have obtained the priest-exclusive skill book. Toxic heal is truly toxic. He excitedly opened. Toxic heal is truly toxic. Skill name: Toxic heal is truly toxic. Class requirement: priest level requirement. None. Skill effect: cast this skill on level 10 targets. Each target will continuously lose HP at a rate of 1 per second, cannot be dispelled, lasting 100 seconds. The poison can stack infinitely. Skill cooldown 1 second. Cast range, level 10 meters. Skill grade divine. 1 HP loss per second, lasting 100 seconds. The poison could stack infinitely, and the cooldown was only 1 second. Seeing these few crucial details, Li Xuanle grinned so hard his mouth could barely close. Good heavens, wasn't this essentially a death sentence placed on any target? This was basically the Reaper's summons. He immediately flipped the Toxic heal is truly toxic skill book open and learned it. Seeing the skill appear on his personal status panel, he simply couldn't hide the smile on his face. He, a healer, could actually use poison, and such a broken poison at that. On the podium, Yang Yu looked at Li Xuanle, who showed not a shred of remorse, and spoke with displeasure. A hidden big shot are you? Can you get into the Super God Academy? Go clear the Academy's Super Ghoul dungeon first, then talk. Yang Yu said, face impassive as she looked at Li Xuanle. The classroom instantly exploded into an uproar. The Super Ghoul dungeon. Isn't that certain death? He's a priest. What is he going to use to challenge it? Is he handsome? No one has ever come out of that dungeon alive. Hidden big shot. He only has a healing spell. He sure knows how to brag. Zhao Hao looked at Li Xuanle with an exaggeratedly mournful expression. Brother, good luck. We're brothers and would love to rush in with you, but since Teacher Yang has spoken, you're on your own. As he finished, a barely restrained glee of schadenfreude crept onto Zhao Hao's face. Seeing Zhao Hao so eager to court death, Li Xuanle raised his voice. Teacher Yang, Zhao Hao says he also wants to challenge the Super Ghoul dungeon. Zhao Hao immediately tried to defend himself. Teacher Yang, enough. You're going to. Just seeing the two of you makes my blood boil. Yang Yu slapped the lectern, her tone leaving no room for argument. The bell signaling the end of class rang. Yang Yu still stood at the lectern, speaking earnestly and at length. Li Xuanle, look at what you've done. Every minute you waste with 40 students in this classroom becomes 40 minutes lost. After she finished speaking, Yang Yu shot Li Xuanle an exasperated glare. Let me say a few more words. You are all level 1 right now. In these last 100 days, you must push yourselves to reach level 30 so you can take the entrance exam for the Super Divine Academy. The Super Divine Academy is your best path forward. Only by graduating from the Super Divine Academy will you gain good jobs and decent treatment. Otherwise, you'll end up joining the Adventurers Guild as frontline adventurers or become undisciplined wilderness hunters. The chances of dying are extremely high. Starting today, you must form your own parties and enter the school's low-level dungeons to raise your levels and gain experience. 3 days from now, you will face a field trial. After speaking, she looked at Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao. You two come with me. We're going to the dungeon building. Class dismissed. With that, she strode out of the classroom. Watching the miserable expression on Zhao Hao's face, Li Xuanle waved his arms excitedly and chuckled. Brother, you said you'd go through fire and water for me. Let's go. At this moment, schadenfreude was written all over his face. I was just talking. You're such a damn scammer. Zhao Hao rose with a resentful look and hurried after him. As they walked, Li Xuanle tried to comfort him. Don't worry. Dying in a dungeon isn't real death. Getting a taste of it in advance is better than dying for real out in the wild, isn't it? Zhao Hao muttered in disgruntlement, but it still hurts. Zhao Ritian, are you not a man who wants to challenge the heavens? You're a swordsman, so what if it hurts? Li Xuanle gave Zhao Hao a disdainful look. You keep saying you want to be a swordsman who slaughters all before him. Don't make me look down on you, but I want to take things slowly. If your strides are too big, something's going to tear. Zhao Hao still refused to budge, and spirit head hanging in dejection. Take it slow. Lose at the starting line. The early bird gets the worm. Do you understand that or not? Li Xuanle continued to coax Zhao Hao. Relax. If any equipment drops, anything you can use will be yours. As for the rest, we'll sell it outright, make money, and live it up. At those words, Zhao Hao's eyes lit up, and he grew excited. Living large on easy money was something he literally dreamed about. Ever since the eerie game invaded their world, food and water had become scarce. Outside Wulong City, countless game monsters roamed, occupying vast tracts of farmland and most of the water sources. This led to massive drops in crop yields and a full-blown food crisis. Water resources also became severely limited. Fortunately, high-level adventurers staked their lives to protect those remaining patches of arable land, allowing the people within the city walls to barely keep themselves fed and watered. As for enjoying life, that was something only the wealthy could afford. Survival and making money had become the eternal main theme of this world. With money, you were lord of all. Food, handsome men, and beautiful women, equipment. Everything could be bought. Furthermore, after careful thought, Li Xuanle realized he himself hardly needed any equipment. With an undying talent, what use did he have for equipment? His skill, Poisonous Blessing, is truly poisonous, did not need any intelligence bonus. It scaled only with level. So if they obtained good gear, they could simply sell it all. Equipment that boosted physique could be kept, though it would increase his speed, making a Kittingen poison strategy genuinely feasible. In this world overtaken by the eerie game, equipment, skills, and items were all divided by level tiers. Nostar 1-star, 2-star, all the way up to 9-star and 10-star. The more stars, the higher the value and the stronger the attributes. You said it yourself. Zhao Hao grabbed Li Xuanle's hand, confirming again and again. I said it. Good. Only then was Zhao Hao finally satisfied. After years of dealing with Li Xuanle, it was the first time he had seen him this generous. In the past, Li Xuanle had swindled him over and over until he wanted to cry. Now that he finally had a chance to take advantage of Li Xuanle, for once there was no way he would let it slip away. As he walked, Li Xuanle opened his personal status panel. Name: Li Xuanle. Level 1. Class Priest. Life 100-100. Morality 1 to passive attribute gain. Intelligence 1 int. Physique 1 phy includes speed. Charm 20 cha. Strength 1 SDR. Talent Undying SSS. Description: passive. You possess an undying body. You can be injured but cannot die. Equipment: school uniform, Nostar. Skills: Poisonous Blessing is truly poisonous, divine grade. Healing spell 1-star. Free attribute points 5. His charm stat was as high as 20, all granted by the system's quests. Yesterday, after successfully changing class, he had become level 1 with 5 attribute points he had yet to allocate. Each time he leveled up, he would gain 5 free attribute points. After much thought, he understood that although his undying body prevented death, it did not prevent injury. Being injured, of course, meant pain. So if he wanted to avoid getting hurt, there was only one solution: run faster. Thus, he decisively invested all 5 points into physique. Improving his physical fitness and speed would let him run like the wind. Priest skills usually relied on intelligence, but as a toxic support, he wasn't concerned about that. He wanted to secure his own survival first, then worry about others. He could already see himself galloping across the battlefield with his kiting strategy. As for attack and defense, those attributes did not appear on the panel. Those were governed by a kind of mysticism. In general, the higher your level, the more attributes you gain, the better your weapons, and the greater your combat strength. These 5 stats were jokingly called de GT Mei Lao by the students. Morality, intelligence, physique, charm, and strength, and formed the foundation of a person's abilities. Among them, morality had particular significance. At least in Wulong City, your morality points could determine whether you were allowed into the official ranks. Simply put, it decided whether you could become an official. Only by slaying powerful monsters could morality increase passively. It could not be raised by freely assigning points. Game monsters were also ranked from no star and 1-star up to 10-star. The higher a monster's star rank, the more monstrous its power and the more morality you gained from killing it. Suddenly, Li Xuanle felt someone tug on his hand. He turned his head and saw Zhao Hao holding him back. At that moment, Zhao Hao was staring eagerly at a beautiful girl a short distance ahead in the corridor. She wore a school uniform, her figure was stunning, and her features were breathtaking. Her high ponytail and delicate elegance made her look like a porcelain doll. Look, the school beauty Xiaobingxue. She's my goddess, Zhao Hao shouted excitedly to Li Xuanle. Following his gaze, Li Xuanle had to admit she truly was beautiful. She embodied youth and vitality, pretty and radiant. In her hand, she held a magic staff, clearly marking her as a mage. Several well-equipped male students surrounded her, chatting with Xiaobingxue with cheerful smiles. Li Xuanle withdrew his gaze and shot Zhao Hao a look of contempt. I really need to say this. You're a swordsman. So what if I'm a swordsman? Can't a swordsman like beautiful women? Look at Li Chun, the top student in our grade. He has the Sword Saint class and lives like an ascetic monk, completely avoiding women. He's got a hidden class and is ridiculously powerful. I'm not him. I could never do that. Ri Tian, I'm so disappointed in you. Li Xuanle's tone was full of disappointment. What did I do? I have to tell you a piece of experience distilled from countless predecessors. The secret to a swordsman becoming a god. What secret? For a swordsman, the first move in the sword manual is this: cut down the one you desire most. With no woman in your heart, your sword draws with divine might. Then why don't you cut her down? You've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why I'm a priest and not a swordsman. I haven't read that many books, don't you dare fool me. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Li Xuanle declared with utmost sincerity, continuing, "We are brothers. How could I ever deceive you? Haven't you deceived me enough?" Zhao Hao, seemingly fed up with being tricked, spoke with a hint of skepticism in his tone. Faced with the soul-searching question, Li Xuanle chuckled awkwardly. "You must believe that when heaven bestows a great responsibility upon someone, it first grinds their will, exhausts their muscles and bones, and starves their body. Is this why you bet my food expenses for a month?" Zhao Hao was still resentful about the previous deception. "Don't worry, my friend is about to take off. He'll make up for all the losses from before." Li Xuanle patted his chest, saying, "Just take this super ghost dungeon, for example. You just sit back and enjoy while I handle everything, okay? Relying on your healing abilities. You only have a healing spell." Zhao Hao shook his head, certain that this guy was just boasting. He definitely didn't believe him. He was already contemplating how to die in a more dignified manner. Soon Yang Yu led Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao to the dungeon building. At the entrance of the super ghost dungeon, Yang Yu respectfully addressed the balding middle-aged man beside him. "Director Tang, I have 2 students here who need to experience the super ghost dungeon." His name was Tang Wu, and as he scrolled through videos of girls on his phone, the sudden voice caught him off guard. He immediately swiped his thumb up, revealing yet another girl in black stockings. Another swipe, still a curvy girl. One more swipe, still a girl. He quickly turned off his screen and awkwardly looked at Yang Yu and the others. "This phone, keeps pushing random videos to me. Sorry for the embarrassment." Yang Yu pretended as if nothing had happened. "I haven't seen anything yet, Li Xuanle looked at Tang Wu and suddenly thought of Wei Xiaoxiang. How did this lecherous-looking man become the director? Could he be a sycophant? The kind that stands up and applauds. "Director, this is just the algorithm suggesting based on interests." Zhao Hao candidly interjected. Li Xuanle raised an eyebrow, surprised at Zhao Hao's audacity. "Are you stupid? You think you know everything just because you are honest?" Yang Ye's face turned an array of colors as she immediately turned to glare at Zhao Hao. How could he still not understand the situation? Tang was face flushed at the words. He glanced knowingly at Zhao Hao, then turned to Yang Yu. "What are you all here for?" Yang Yu immediately replied, "These 2 students need to experience the brutality of game monsters, so I decided to let them feel it in the super ghost dungeon." Upon hearing this, Tang Wu's eyes twinkled as he nodded repeatedly. "Experience brutality. Very well, there's another group that also needs to go into the super ghost dungeon, so let's go together in a bit." As soon as he finished speaking, a group appeared slowly at the entrance. 4 men and 2 women. One of them stood out particularly, Xia Bingxue. Zhao Hao immediately grew excited, pinching Li Zunle's arms. "Xia, I know." Li Xuanle pulled back his hand, his gaze towards Zhao Hao filled with disdain. He thought to himself, truly lackluster, unable to move when encountering a beautiful girl. "Director Tang, hello, I'm Tan Huan, and we want to challenge the super ghost dungeon." The girl next to Xia Bingxue spoke up with a clear voice. Tang Wu nodded, looking at the group with some surprise. "Tan Huan, it's rare to see someone voluntarily challenge the super ghost dungeon. There are 6 of you." "Yes, 6 of us. We are all in the top 10 of the academy rankings," Tan Huan said, gesturing animatedly, her tone filled with pride. Tang Wu raised an eyebrow slightly. "Youth is indeed wonderful, fearless, and unyielding." After saying this, his gaze turned meaningfully to Zhao Hao. After a 2-second pause, his attention returned to Tan Huan, and then glanced at Xia Bingxue. "Oh, I feel like I've seen her before. She's the campus belle of our academy, Xia Bingxue. Her photos frequently appear in the academy news," Tan Huan explained. "So that's how it is. No wonder she has 4 flower protectors behind her, haha." Tang Wu looked at the well-equipped boys behind Xia Bingxue and smiled knowingly. Xia Bingxue smiled and nodded at Tang Wu. "Hello, Director Tang." Good. Tang Wu couldn't help but admire Xia Bingxue's youthful vitality. How many boys must see her as their ideal? If he were a few decades younger, he would probably want to pursue her as well. He composed himself, his expression turning serious. "You all know about the super ghost dungeon, right? There are a total of 10 levels, and no one among the students has ever succeeded in challenging it. I believe we can challenge it," Tan Huan declared confidently. Tang Wu laughed heartily. "Haha, those who have failed all said that before." After laughing, his gaze turned to Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao beside him. "The super ghost dungeon is a 10-man dungeon, and you are only 6 people. There are 2 classmates who also need to experience the super ghost dungeon, so I think it would be better for you to go in together. It would lower the cost a bit. What do you think?" Tan Huan looked at Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao with surprise. "You also want to go in?" "Yes, these 2 mischievous kids don't know the dangers of game monsters, so they need to experience it," Yang Yu replied, crossing her arms. "All right, but let's make it clear we may not take care of you guys," Tan Huan said, glancing at Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao, who seemed not to be wearing any decent equipment. She quickly understood that these 2 were there to face punishment and would probably die in the first level. "No need to worry about us. You don't have to mind us." Li Xuanle waved his hand. "You didn't buy any equipment?" Tan Huan was very surprised. "Only weapons." "I didn't have time for anything else," Li Xuanle replied lightly. He smiled casually, remaining calm and composed. Both Zhao Hao and Li Xuanle only had one broken weapon mainly because they were poor. Li Xuanle was an orphan, so that goes without saying. The previous system tasks were all about adding attribute points to beauty. However, because he was handsome, he also received some unexpected surprises such as love letters and snacks in his drawer. Speaking of which, there was a time when he indeed relied on his looks to get by. But he had been waiting for the system to give him a powerful move and finally received the immortal talent and a heavenly skill toxic healing. As for Zhao Hao, his parents both had practical jobs doing some sewing and cooking and were not wealthy at all. Being able to buy a sword was already the greatest support for him. What are your professions? Tianhuan asked curiously, looking at Li Xuanle, who seemed somewhat handsome. I'm Li Xuanle, a priest, and this is Zhao Hao, a swordsman. A priest. Tianhuan looked at Li Xuanle in surprise. Priest. Xia Bingxue and the four boys were also astonished. Even Tang Wu, who was beside them, was quite surprised. A priest. Didn't teacher Yang Yu tell you about the importance of professions? She did, but I think it's all about serving the people. He replied dismissively. He didn't want to expose that he had a system, nor did he feel the need to mention that he chose priest just because of his immortal talent. That was his personal biggest secret. Since you chose it yourself, there's nothing more to say. Get ready, I'm going to start the dungeon. Tang Wu said, standing up and pressing a button. A bright blue vortex appeared in the room, dazzling and mysterious. Tang Wu looked at everyone and immediately said, quickly, you all go in one by one. Tianhuan and Xia Bingxue held hands and rushed in first, followed closely by the four well-equipped boys. Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao stepped into the vortex last. Yang Yu curiously asked Tang Wu, do you think they have a chance of clearing it? In my experience, it's absolutely impossible. What do you mean? Yang Yu pressed for further information. Tang Wu slowly released his hand from the button and began to speak. In a previous session, all 10 top students came, including some with hidden professions, yet they still lost, only advancing to the 4th level. Our Super Ghost dungeon, though referred to as a dungeon, is more like a wake-up call for the students. Yang Yu raised an eyebrow slightly. What kind of wake-up call? To alert everyone that the game monsters are nearly impossible to defeat. As Tang Wu spoke, concern shadowed his eyes as if he feared something. Indeed, even that small island nation next to us has been wiped out. The crisis for humanity is indeed growing stronger. Yang Yu nodded, gently recalling the news she had just seen, her face filled with worry. After a dizzying spin, Li Xuanle looked around, and besides Zhao Hao there were also 6 others, including Xia Bingxue. The environment resembled an arena. The ground was smooth and hardened, dappled with sunlight, both ancient and mysterious. Surrounding the arena were stone walls rising dozens of meters high, making escape impossible. Unlike the arena, there were 3 towers on the field, each 7 or 8 meters high. The towers appeared seemingly indestructible. On the surrounding stone walls there were 4 dark, ominous openings. Li Xuanle gazed at the openings, speculating that they were likely where beasts would emerge. He turned his attention to the towers, which seemed climbable. With a quick thought, he immediately grabbed Zhao Hao's hand. Brother, do you trust me? Zhao Hao, who was surveying the environment, was suddenly startled as he was pulled. He turned to see it was Li Xuanle, and he sighed in relief. To be honest, not really. Li Xuanle pouted. This time you can trust me. TCH. You say that every time. Zhao Hao shook his head. Li Xuanle looked at Zhao Hao earnestly. What attributes did you invest in? As a swordsman, of course, I invested in strength and stamina, which represent power, endurance, and speed. Li Xuanle whispered mysteriously in Zhao Hao's ear. Trust me, if you invest all points in stamina before level 20, it'll help you soar. Zhao Hao stared at Li Xuanle in disbelief. What kind of joke is this? What swordsman doesn't invest in strength? And all in stamina? Li Xuanle looked at Zhao Hao seriously. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to fly in the future? Of course I do. Zhao Hao replied without hesitation, but then hesitated. But stamina only represents endurance and speed. It doesn't provide any attack power. How can we kill monsters? Li Xuanle smiled confidently. Consider this, which is more important, killing monsters or staying alive? That's obviously staying alive. As long as the Green Mountains remain, one need not worry about firewood. In terms of survival, stamina is indeed the most crucial. Besides, you're not some powerful hidden profession. So you mean in the early stages I should prioritize speed? The best strategy is to run. Zhao Hao seemed to understand something. All right, I've got it now. Li Xuanle clapped his hands. But you as a priest wouldn't invest all in stamina, would you? Zhao Hao seemed to think of something unbelievable. You guessed it right, Li Xuanle said casually. Zhao Hao's eyes widened. But I remember that priest skills should enhance intelligence to perform better. Li Xuanle chuckled. I'm not an ordinary healer, I'm a poison healer. Poison healer? Zhao Hao murmured thoughtfully. A healer who invests all in stamina. You really are toxic. Li Xuanle rolled his eyes at Zhao Hao. What I mean is I can apply poison. No way applying poison. I've never heard of that. There will always be some special skills that surprise you. Just trust me this time, it'll broaden your horizons. Zhao Hao nodded, still skeptical. Alright, so what should I do? First, climb that tower. Second, invest all attribute points in stamina until level 20. Can I really trust you? Zhao Hao held Li Zunel's hand, reconfirming. Of course. Worst case, it'll earn back the attribute gems embedded in your gear later. How does that sound? Okay, I'll hold you to that. Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao each found a tower and quickly climbed to the top, sitting at the highest point, appearing calm and collected. Li Xuanle pulled out a staff, which to the unaware might seem like a wooden stick. Zhao Hao took out a long sword that looked like scrap metal. Xia Bingxue looked at the strange behavior of the two with confusion. What are these two up to? Tan Huan and the other four well-equipped boys looked at the scene, feeling quite speechless. You could understand the priest hiding up there, but the swordsman hiding too. Isn't that a bit cowardly? Tan Huan gently shook his head. Ignore those two. Let's stick to our previous battle formation. Bingxue, as a mage, be careful to avoid attacks and stand in the center. Wang Hao and Qin Yuan, you two are knights. Focus on tanking damage. Li Xiang, as the swordsman, you will be the main attacker. Zhang Tian, you are the archer, so watch your positioning. I'll be the assassin, moving around to eliminate the most threatening monsters. Tan Huan seemed quite practiced, clearly outlining the plan in just a few sentences. The group skillfully surrounded Xia Bingxue in the center, ready for battle. Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao, however, were relaxed as they watched the others perform, their hearts undisturbed. At that moment, words appeared in the sky, first level. In the next second, ominous sounds began to emanate from the stone wall's openings. After a deep roar, the silhouettes of monsters gradually appeared from the four openings. Each opening revealed two monstrous figures. Li Xuanle immediately recognized the type of monster, stone giant. It was recorded in the monster manual. Its skin was hard and smooth, displaying a rocky color. Its limbs were long, with 5 large toes connecting to the feet and sharp claws on its arms. Its facial features were well-defined, with a strong and gaunt appearance, and its deeply set black eyes made it look incredibly resilient. As the stone giant approached, Li Xuanle checked its detailed information. Stone giant, common monster, level 1, HP 100, skill 1, stone stomp. The stone giant strikes the ground, dealing spell damage to enemies within a 5-meter radius and reducing their speed. In the following 5 seconds, the stone giant's normal attacks will deal splash damage to all enemies in front. Skill 2, stone throw. It uses the stone throw skill by digging out a boulder with both hands and hurling it at enemies, causing area damage. This skill is also effective against airborne targets. Description: long ago, when the world was still in chaos, ancient deities began to shape the earth. They molded various creatures from endless stones and soil, among which the most powerful were the stone giants. These stone giants possess indestructible bodies that can withstand any attack. They obey the summons of the ancient deities, guarding mysterious temples and treasures. Note: be careful. Provoking it may lead to a very tragic demise. Catchphrase: don't be a coward whining if you have the guts, come and fight. Li Xuanle saw this crucial information and thought to himself, if it were an ordinary person, it would be very difficult to resist. He had previously learned about this Ultra Ghost dungeon. Its monster dispatch mechanism allocates monsters based on the challenger's highest level. Since all challengers are level 1, the monsters are also level 1. If the challenger's highest level is level 30, then the first level will feature monsters at level 30. The levels of the subsequent monsters will gradually increase in strength. However, challengers can only be level 30 or below, though anyone above level 30 cannot enter the Li Xuanle squinted his eyes, feeling a sense of foreboding. If I don't take action, this first level looks very troublesome. The attributes of the stone giant summed up to 20 points. According to the mechanism, where each level of a class change adds 5 points, this stone giant is equivalent to a level 4 class changer. The key is that its attribute points are very concentrated. Almost all are in strength and constitution. This means it is fast and powerful, and looking at its rock-like exterior, its defense must be exceptionally high. Moreover, there are a total of 8 stone giants. This equates to 8 level 4 monsters against 8 level 1 challengers. Not to mention Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao are 2 observers hiding in the lighthouse. This match appears to be a complete massacre. However, Li Xuanle is extremely confident in himself. After all, he possesses divine skills. Moreover, he also has the talent for immortality. He only needs to consider how to minimize injuries and avoid pain. Clearing the level is inevitable for him. Zhao Hao looked at the towering stone giant charging forward with great concern. Brother, I feel like I'm going to die here. Li Xuanle shot him a glance. You're on a lighthouse 7 or 8 meters high, and it's only 3 or 4 meters tall. Even if it jumps, it can't reach your knees. What are you worrying about? But I feel something is off. It seems like it can throw stones. Just stay out of the way. At that moment, thud, thud, thud. A stone giant stomped heavily past beneath Li Xuanle. He chuckled quick on his feet and immediately waved his wand, shooting out a green light that struck the stone giant. It was indeed the skill Poisonous Milk is Toxic. A faint green halo appeared above the stone giant's head, hovering there. Its health began to decrease at a rate of 1 per second. Seemingly sensing something unusual, it instantly became agitated. It searched for enemies, its furious gaze directed at Xia Bingxue and the others. Then it quickly charged towards them. Judging by its demeanor, it seemed to believe they were using underhanded tactics against it, causing its anger to surge. Li Xuanle raised an eyebrow. It seems like it's looking for the wrong target. Seeing the stone giant about to charge out of his attack range, he fueled the fire by applying poisonous milk is toxic again. Another faint green halo appeared above its head, now adorned with 2 faint green halos. Its health loss rate increased further. Since it had moved out of Li Xuanle's attack range, he could no longer cast poisonous milk is toxic on it. Otherwise, he would have liked to see if the poison could really stack infinitely. At this moment, what the hell, why has this stone giant gone berserk? The archer Zhang Tian, seeing the suddenly enraged stone giant, felt very uneasy and immediately shot an arrow at it. Ding! The arrow landed on the stone giant, producing a ding sound. It was a crisp and piercing noise. Then the arrow was mercilessly deflected, soaring high into the air as if mocking his overconfidence. This? Zhang Tian's expression slightly changed. His arrow seemed to have very limited damage, only scratching its surface. But when he carefully checked the stone giant's health, his eyebrows shot up, and he exclaimed loudly, "Wait a minute. This stone giant's health actually dropped by 10, and it's still decreasing. Could it be that my arrow hit its vital artery? Or am I the chosen one with attacks that carry mystical properties?" Countless strange thoughts about his imminent rise filled his mind. At that moment, Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan heard Zhang Tian's exclamation. They all immediately checked the status of the stone giant. Sure enough, this stone giant was behaving oddly, with its health continuing to decline. Tan Huan spoke first. "Everyone, let's concentrate our attacks on this stone giant." After saying that, the mage Xia Bingxue, archer Zhang Tian, assassin Tan Huan, and swordsman Li Xiang all launched their full force attacks on the stone giant. They unleashed a torrent of firepower. Zhao Hao watched from the side, trembling in fear, thinking with such good equipment, it makes a difference. He and Li Xiang were both swordsmen, but while Li Xiang's sword sparkled, his looked like a piece of scrap metal. Moreover, the cloaks, armor, shoes, bracers, and belts on them were all intact. He felt like a beggar with nothing. Meanwhile, Li Xuanle watched this scene with great disdain. He was rolling his eyes so hard they might pop out. These are supposed to be dead stone giants, why are they still bothering about? He initially wanted to explain, but thinking about the issue of distributing equipment after killing the monsters, he dismissed the thought. He planned to wait until these people were all ultra-hosted before taking action. After all, equipment cannot be given to outsiders. After all, equipment is equivalent to money, and money equates to a bright future. He had been short on money for a long time, even tricking Zhao Hao out of his living expenses. Therefore, he sometimes felt guilty, but not too much, as he believed he would repay it sooner or later. And this Ultra Ghost dungeon is his first step towards repayment. Apart from the 2 knights, all 4 of Xia Bingshu's group were working hard to attack the stone giant. Soon after a wail, the stone giant crashed to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. It seemed to drop a piece of equipment, but it looked very low level. Tan Huan immediately picked up the equipment. "This will be uniformly distributed after we exit the dungeon. Is that okay with everyone?" The others shook their heads, indicating they had no objections. Of course, they wouldn't consider Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao. To them, these two were just here to watch. Being allowed to enter the dungeon together was already a rare blessing for them. At this time, Li Xuanle glanced at the time. It had taken over 40 seconds to kill the stone giant. It seemed that their attacks had not significantly sped up its death. His poisonous milk is toxic. Damage was at least over 80%. At this moment, the other 7 stone giants had already approached and were engaged in fierce combat with Xia Bingshu's group. Li Xuanle watched the 6 people below struggling in battle, resting his chin on his right hand and contemplating. Is it appropriate to observe coldly? It must be. Thinking of what the others had said before entering the dungeon, each would take care of their own, he felt no guilt whatsoever. Nearby, Zhao Hao looked at Li Xuanle. "Big brother, is it really okay for us to just watch like this? Why don't you go down and help them?" "Forget it, I don't have any equipment. Oh, I probably can't withstand it." "Then why don't you just chatter?" Hypocritical righteousness. At this moment, one person suddenly shouted, "Dragon Knight's holy shield." Li Xuanle was drawn in by this shout, and immediately turned to look at that person. He discovered that a faint golden layer was shimmering around that person, dazzling and magnificent. Tan Huan immediately exclaimed, "Wang Hao, you are the hidden class, Dragon Knight." "That's right, I am indeed the hidden class, Dragon Knight." "Then where is your dragon?" "The dragon hasn't been found yet." Tan Huan raised an eyebrow. "Then I wish you find it soon. We might only be able to push through 2 more levels at most." Wang Hao waved his hand. "Isn't there any confidence in clearing the level?" "What a blunder." Tan Huan mumbled to herself, believing they had made a mistake. The reason they chose the level 1 challenge of the Super Ghost dungeon was that they thought the monsters at this level would possess relatively weak strength. However, they could equip themselves with money, and with the balance of strength, clearing the dungeon was not a dream. This was the conclusion drawn by past challengers. The lower the level, the easier the challenge. The higher the level, the greater the difficulty. Yet they evidently underestimated the difficulty of the Super Ghost dungeon. Based on the attributes of the current level 1 monsters, one could imagine that the remaining 9 levels would likely feature extremely terrifying monster attributes. At this moment, Xia Bingxue also appeared quite surprised. I really didn't expect you Wang Hao to be a dragon knight. Wang Hao replied with a proud smile, hee, it's just a bit of good luck. Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue looked at Wang Hao with surprised expressions. Wang Hao gradually became lost in the gaze of these two beauties, waving his hand. Don't worry, you'll take charge. I can withstand it. Chen Yuan step in if necessary. Chen Yuan, another knight, could not help but twitch his lips at Wang Hao's grandstanding. Alright, just take it easy. Yet he thought to himself, fine, you're stealing all the limelight. The school beauty must be leaning towards you now. Looking at it this way, I'm completely just a supporting character. Damn it, he actually managed to show off. He looked at Wang Hao with a mix of envy, jealousy, and hatred. Unfortunately, he wasn't a hidden class. Although his family wasn't short on money, under the same equipment, a hidden class was clearly stronger than an ordinary class. To his knowledge, Wang Hao was also a rich kid. Including the archer Zhang Tian and swordsman Li Xiang, they were all rich kids. Among the top 10 in the school's rankings, how many weren't rich kids? They had no chance to team up with Xia Bingxue. In the arena, with Wang Hao's identity as a dragon knight revealed, everyone's pressure eased significantly. Swordsman Li Xiang, as the main attacker, however, felt quite strained. After attacking for nearly 2 minutes, he finally sensed something was off. The sword in my hand is level 1 star with a 5 modifier. Why am I doing so little damage to this stone giant? That's normal. Stone giants are inherently tough, making them hard to kill. Tan Huan explained beside him. Li Xiang frowned. Then I'm puzzled, why did the first stone giant die so quickly? It fell within a minute. I don't know. Tan Huan shook her head while searching for an opportunity to stab. She vaguely saw that the first stone giant seemed to have 2 faint green halos above its head. The color was very faint, and one might not notice it if they weren't paying attention. She was still puzzled, wondering if the dungeon had a bug. At this moment, the basic formation on site was that Wang Hao was responsible for drawing 6 stone giants, while everyone else concentrated their attacks on 1 stone giant. Since Wang Hao began to shine with golden light, his defense seemed to increase significantly. This is exhausting. He occasionally attacked the stone giant, and then ran wildly, leading the stone giants on a wild chase, much like a kite being pulled. Li Xuanle watched with great interest, as if he were watching a performance. Wang Hao's maneuvering truly seemed to be thrilling yet safe. He couldn't help but regard Wang Hao with more respect. But in truth, Wang Hao was suffering greatly. He deeply regretted boasting earlier and taking on everything himself. Even though his defense had significantly improved and his speed had increased combined with his equipment, he could barely hold on. However, that damn stone giant was actually throwing rocks. He was occasionally hit by stones, making him look disheveled. But he had no one to complain to and could only endure continuously cursing inwardly. Damn it. Next time I can't boast again. While running, Li Xuanle saw him slap himself twice. He wondered why. Was he trying to bolster his spirits? The other knight, Chen Yuan, had it much easier, primarily drawing the attention of 1 stone giant. When he glanced at the flustered Wang Hao out of the corner of his eye, he felt secretly pleased. Serves you right for showing off. A dragon knight without a dragon. Let's see how long you can keep this up. Finally, the second stone giant let out a wail and crashed to the ground. 6 minutes had passed. This meant they needed 6 minutes to kill 1 stone giant, and that was with the dragon knight distracting them. At this moment, Zhao Hao suddenly shouted, damn it, why is there a stone giant below me? Li Xuanle immediately turned his gaze toward Zhao Hao. He found that indeed there was a stone giant under the lighthouse, where Zhao Hao was located, glaring at him with eyes the size of copper bells, letting out a low growl. From the look of it, it seemed like it wanted to smash him into a pulp. Li Xuanle looked at Zhao Hao and calmly said, brother, stay calm, it can't reach you. Upon hearing this, Zhao Hao sighed in relief. Yes, this guy couldn't reach him, so what was there to fear? In the next second, his attitude changed dramatically as he made a face. Come on, bite me. Don't act like a coward. If you have the guts, come and fight. The stone giant, seeing Zhao Hao's antics, surprisingly spoke. It angrily swung its fists and struck the lighthouse pole fiercely. Bang, bang, bang. The lighthouse pole shook violently, producing a loud sound. Zhao Hao was so frightened that he immediately stopped his antics and became very proper. However, the stone giant had no intention of letting him go, continuing to strike the lighthouse pole. Scared, Zhao Hao cried out, Wang Hao, you need to draw this stone giant away. Wang Hao's face darkened. After finally reducing 1 stone giant, now he was being asked to draw it back. Wasn't that adding insult to injury? He helplessly replied, I can barely take care of myself, brother, you need to help me out. While running, Wang Hao observed the situation at the scene. Zhao Hao's face darkened, revealing a bitter expression. What the heck? Isn't everyone supposed to mind their own business? Why is this happening to me? While running, Wang Hao suddenly noticed Li Xuanle on the lighthouse pole. If he remembered correctly, he seemed to be a priest. Perhaps he could heal him since he had taken considerable damage. Good idea. With this thought, he immediately adjusted his direction and ran towards Li Xuanle. Li Xuanle, seeing Wang Hao running towards him, immediately perked up. What is this guy planning? Does he want me to draw aggro? Wang Hao, panting, looked at Li Xuanle. Brother, how about giving? No problem, Li Xuanle replied, raising an eyebrow. After saying that, he waved his staff and cast a healing spell on Wang Hao below. Wang Hao felt a slight improvement, but something still felt off. Brother, I feel like your healing spell isn't really effective. I don't have the equipment, so the healing effect is very weak. He didn't dare mention that all his attributes were focused on strength instead of intelligence. Wang Hao was speechless. He originally wanted to say something else, but upon seeing the 5 stone giants chasing behind him, he hurriedly ran away. At this time, Zhao Hao was still sitting calmly on the lighthouse, unmoving. Suddenly, his pupils dilated. He saw the stone giant digging its hands into the ground and pulling out a large rock. He immediately panicked and shouted, "Help! Help! It's using a rock to kill people." TSK, TSK, TSK. A grown man, a man determined to become a swordsman, is actually scared into this state by a monster. What a coward! Li Xuanle watched this and looked on with disdain. Xia Bingxue and the others who had just killed the stone giant were also speechless upon hearing Zhao Hao's cry for help. Is it really that scary? After a few seconds of surprise, they immediately rushed towards Zhao Hao's position. It wasn't to save him, but because they were preparing to kill the next stone giant. Coincidentally, one had gotten separated. At that moment, the stone giant had already thrown a rock at Zhao Hao on the— Oh my god! Zhao Hao looked at the adult-sized rock flying towards him, his face changing, and his hand slipped. His entire body slid down by a meter. The rock barely flew past his head. He immediately scrambled back up in a panic, fearing he would fall within the stone giant's attack range and be crushed. Li Xuanle felt quite pleased seeing this. Damn, your response was quite instinctive. Zhao Hao forced a smile, tugging at the corner of his mouth. Damn, that was really scary, mainly because I have no gear. He attributed all his reasons to the lack of gear rather than his own cowardice. At this moment, Dragon Knight Wang Hao, already overwhelmed once again, ran back to Li Xuanle. Bro, give me another heal. No problem. Li Xuanle was not stingy with his skills and raised his hand to cast a healing spell on Wang Hao. Wang Hao finally couldn't help but ask, Bro, did you allocate any points to intelligence? No. Wang Hao looked at the stone giant closing in and helplessly fled again. He was quite speechless and puzzled. Why would a priest not invest in intelligence? Without intelligence, how could a priest's skills be fully utilized? This is illogical, isn't it? This has nothing to do with gear, it's a matter of common sense. How could someone not know this basic fact? This clearly looks like the type that ranks at the bottom of the class. He kept guessing in his heart. At that moment, Li Xuanle looked at the 5 stone giants passing below and simply raised his hand. He cast Toxic Milk on all 5 stone giants, and even did it twice. He felt it was too slow. If it dragged on like this, it would take half an hour. He decided to clear a few stone giants, quickly enter the next round, and let these people be taken away by the monsters. The 5 stone giants were affected by Toxic Milk, each topped with 2 faint green halos. Their health continued to decline. Suddenly, they became restless, and their speed in chasing Wang Hao increased. Wang Hao was scared and quickened his pace. He couldn't help but speculate, what the hell is going on with them? Have they lost patience in chasing? Did their attributes increase? In his panic, he didn't notice the 2 faint green death halos atop the stone giants' heads. That was the real culprit. Meanwhile, Xia Bingxue and her group were focusing their fire on the stone giant under Zhao Hao's lighthouse. Brilliant magic, sharp swords, cold arrows, cunning daggers, and powerful spears all bombarded the stone giant. The challengers equipped by Xia Bingxue were clearly stronger than Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao. Zhang Tian even embedded a 1-star labor attribute gem into his bow and arrow. A 1-star labor attribute gem can add 5 points to labor. This attribute gem has a market value of 2,000 Xia coins. To put it in perspective, Li Zunle's living expenses for a month are only 1,000 Xia coins. Such wasteful behavior can only be done by the rich 2nd generation. But it must be said that the stone giant is indeed very tough. Even when faced with fully armed challengers' all-out attacks, its health decreases very slowly. Unintentionally, Li Xuanle found that he had leveled up. A faint smile appeared on his lips, clearly indicating that the death of those 6 stone giants had allowed him to reach the next level. He promptly allocated his attribute points to Constitution. For him, kiting is going to be his mainstream tactic in the future. Just poison and run. Then he only needs to wait quietly for the opponent to be claimed by the King of Hell. He could already imagine the frustration of his enemies, unable to take him down, yet looking down on him. Suddenly, Wang Hao felt that there seemed to be no movement behind him. He turned back to look, his pupils shaking. He exclaimed in surprise, "What the hell? How did all those stone giants die? Could it be they all died?" The most relaxed Zhao Hao was the first to notice Wang Hao's situation, discovering that all 5 stone giants were indeed dead. He turned his head, looking at Li Xuanle, his eyes seemingly questioning, as if to say, "Did you do that?" Li Xuanle looked at Zhao Hao, nodded slightly, and even winked at him. Zhao Hao raised his eyebrows in shock. Could it be that my brother really took off? Am I finally going to latch onto a big shot? His heart suddenly filled with excitement, inexplicably elated. He had always envied others for having the opportunity to latch onto a big shot. Who would have thought that one day he could latch onto one himself? He couldn't help but wonder if his ancestral grave was smoking, thinking about finding an opportunity to pay respects. Upon thinking that his ancestral grave outside the city might be invaded by game monsters, he dismissed the idea. Who would have thought that even honoring one's ancestors would become a luxury? However, his gaze towards Li Xuanle remained full of heat. The small grievances he had about being misled by Li Xuanle had also dissipated into thin air. Meanwhile, Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue and the others, hearing Wang Hao's exclamation, also turned to look in his direction. They discovered that the 5 stone giants chasing after him were all lying flat. They even noticed that several pieces of equipment had dropped on the ground. Everyone was dumbfounded. It took them a long time to kill a single stone giant, but how did 5 stone giants die in the blink of an eye? This was completely absurd. Could it be that this super ghost dungeon has a bug? Confusion filled everyone's mind. Just then, the last stone giant, taking advantage of everyone's inattention, slammed a massive blow onto the nearest Chen Yuan. He was sent flying several meters away, crashing heavily to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. Wow, that hurts like hell. Chen Yuan's wailing brought everyone back to their senses from their shock and confusion. Only then did they remember that there was still one stone giant alive. So they cautiously repositioned and unleashed a flurry of dazzling attacks on the last stone giant. Wang Hao had also rushed into the crowd, taking Chen Yuan's place. Meanwhile, Chen Yuan, with blood at the corner of his mouth, lay on the ground, completely giving up. He kept munching on healing potions. He looked at the stone giant with a hint of fear. He felt that if he took a couple of hits from it, he would really die. At this moment, Li Xuanle, however, was looking intensely at the several pieces of equipment on the ground. He was hesitating whether to go down and pick them up. Although the gear was low level, it was still better than nothing. Besides, it could sell for some money, right? But when he thought about the higher level and better gear in the remaining 9 levels, he dismissed the idea. It wasn't worth losing face over such low-level equipment. After the next round, when these people died and left the dungeon, he could do as he pleased. Boom! Finally, the last stone giant collapsed. At that moment, Tan Huan shouted loudly, "Big shot, I just saw you make a move." As soon as those words were spoken, everyone was taken aback. A big shot. Could there be any hidden professional experts here? However, among these few individuals, apart from Wang Hao, the atypical Dragon Knight, there seemed to be no one particularly special. Like the others, Xia Bingxue looked at Tan Huan in astonishment. "Huan, what are you talking about?" Tan Huan, however, walked confidently with light steps towards Li Xuanle. "Big shot, stop pretending." After saying this, she fixed her gaze straight on Li Xuanle. Seeing this scene, Xia Bingxue was stunned, and Wang Hao and the others were equally astonished. Even Zhao Hao on the lighthouse was somewhat surprised. On the ground, Chen Yuan was also slowly getting up, contemplating as he looked at Li Xuanle. Isn't he a priest? A big shot. Could it be that Tan Huan is mistaken? What big shot? Li Xuanle replied indifferently. He hadn't expected his move to be so covert, yet still discovered. Tan Huan's observational skills were quite impressive. He mentally rated her 2 points higher. It seems that those on the leaderboard are not to be underestimated. Tan Huan rested her chin on her right hand, looking at Li Xuanle confidently. Don't forget, I'm an assassin with strong observation skills. And then, oi. From the suspicious death of the first stone giant, I began to suspect you and that swordsman on the lighthouse. So throughout the process, I kept an eye on both of you. So I saw you make a move. The faint green halo above the stone giant's head was your doing, right? Just as Li Xuanle was hesitating on how to respond, a voice suddenly echoed in his mind. Ding. You have triggered a system task, please collect it. He immediately checked the system task 1. Find a reason to argue that you are not a big shot and convince everyone. Completion reward title of Silver Tongue. 2. Honestly admit, alright, I confess I am indeed a hidden big shot. These things are completely true. 3. Remain silent, play it cool, and be a quiet, handsome man. Completion reward beauty attribute 1. Li Xuanle looked through the options and chose the second one directly. The attribute gemstone could be exchanged for money worth about 2,000 summer coins. That Silver Tongue title was all nonsense. As for the beauty attribute point, he felt that more or less made no difference, so it wasn't necessary. Clearing his throat, he pretended to be profound. Alright, I admit I am indeed a hidden big shot. These things are completely trivial for me. As soon as this statement was made, Tan Huan's eyes lit up. Xia Bingxue and the others were even more astonished that a priest would dare to say such a thing. They all widened their eyes, unable to believe it. Even Zhao Hao on the lighthouse almost lost his grip, thinking this guy really knows how to put on an act. He wasn't afraid of boasting and having to eat his words later. Where would he put his face then? Dig a hole with his toes. At this moment, a voice echoed again in Li Xuanle's mind. Ding. Congratulations, you have obtained a 1-star labor attribute gemstone. Li Xuanle checked his character backpack, and indeed a light blue gemstone appeared. The gemstone had a star subtly rotating on it. So this is what a 1-star attribute gemstone looks like. It was the first time he had seen a real attribute gemstone. He had only seen it in textbooks, and it was obviously very different. Li Xuanle was very happy. Although he couldn't use this attribute gemstone, it could be sold for 2,000 bucks. He could buy some good food with it. He didn't know why the system started giving him gemstones. Previously, he only received beauty attribute points, which were pretty but useless. On the other side, Xia Bingsno and Wang Hao approached, immediately speaking in a flurry. So the first stone giant was your doing. Did you also kill the last 5 stone giants? So we only killed 2 stone giants. How did you as a priest manage to do that? A series of questions left Li Xuanle feeling somewhat at a loss. He hesitated about whether to answer each one. At this moment, a voice echoed again in his mind. Ding. You have triggered a system task. Please collect it. Another reward. He immediately checked the task 1. Coldly tell them, I have my own plans, mind your own business. 2. Patiently answer their questions one by one and be very friendly towards them. Completion reward, a pair of black stockings from the school flower. Li Xuanle looked over the options, very hesitant. A magic cloak. School flowers, black stockings. After thinking it over, he chose the first option. The magic cloak should be worth something. The school flowers' black stockings might not be easy to sell. Even if he could sell them, it would be awkward to explain their origin. He maintained a composed demeanor, appearing aloof. I have my own plans, mind your own business. As soon as this was said, everyone seemed to be cast under a spell, falling silent. Zhao Hao laughed beside him. Big brother, you really are putting on an act. Li Xuanle raised an eyebrow on Fei. Zhao Hao, hearing this, pouted, rolled his eyes, and sat quietly on the lighthouse, consciously keeping quiet. Li Xuanle, however, was gleefully looking at the magic cloak in his character backpack. Wisdom attribute 8, a beauty attribute 2. He slightly curved the corners of his mouth. Good stuff, and it could be exchanged for money. After a while, Tan Huan spoke first. Then we won't pry, but we want to team up with you. What do you think? Xia Bingsno tugged at Tan Huan's hand, looking surprised. Her expression seemed to ask, why are you making decisions without discussing it? Tan Huan gently patted Xia Bingsno's wrist, signaling her to relax. Li Xuanle raised an eyebrow, a bit surprised. Team up? But didn't we agree to look after ourselves? Tan Huan chuckled awkwardly. We indeed underestimated you before, but now we hope to cooperate. The more challenges we face together, the better chance we have of clearing them. Cooperate. Clear the challenges. Yes, Tan Huan nodded firmly. Clear the challenges. What gives you that confidence? Li Xuanle asked, puzzled. Could it be that she has seen through something? Meanwhile, Xia Bingsno and Wang Hao were all puzzled. Could a single healer really make a difference? The first challenge was already so difficult, and there were still 9 more to go. They felt that in the next challenge they might lose members. Although this priest had dealt with a few stone giants, to say they could clear the challenges seemed nearly impossible. What gave him that confidence? The Super Ghost Dungeon was no joke, and the difficulty had been evident from the first challenge. Unity is strength after all, though dreams should still be had. What if we encounter something strange? Tan Huan shrugged her shoulders. Li Xuanle pondered for a moment, furrowing his brow, and shook his head. I don't want to team up with you. Why, oi? Tan Huan was puzzled. This way, whatever drops we get will belong to me, and I can sell them. This doesn't seem appropriate. Wang Hao spoke with a hint of hesitation. Not only Wang Hao, but the others also shared the same doubt. All for him. How can a priest wield a broken wooden stick? Are we judging by looks? If that's the case, everyone here seems to have decent looks except for the swordsman on the lighthouse. They truly did not understand why he was so confident. At this moment, Tan Huan felt a bit awkward. She initially wanted to seek cooperation, but the other party's appetite seemed too big. This was clearly not suitable and would be difficult to explain to others. Li Xuanle remained calm and said, all right then, when you are carried away, I will clear the level myself. This statement was not loud, but it carried significant weight. It was like a bomb being detonated. Everyone froze in place, doubting if they were imagining things. Xia Bingshu's delicate face was filled with disbelief, and she was the first to speak. Clear the level. Are you sure you can do it? Xia Bingshu stared seriously at the casual Li Xuanle, as if trying to read something from his face. Wang Hao and the others also looked at Li Xuanle seriously, speculating on how much truth and how much falsehood there was in his words. Tan Huan pondered for a moment and immediately spoke. Big shot, we only seek the title of clearing the level. If you lead us through, you can sell us suitable equipment at a price higher than the market rate. How about it? Li Xuanle had not yet responded when Wang Hao and the others began to chatter. If he can clear the level, I will respect him as my elder brother. Yeah, if he can clear it, I am willing to be his little brother. But I just wonder if he can do it. Right, if he really can clear it, I will live stream eating crap. Tan Huan immediately turned to the others. If we don't form a team, we might only clear 3 or 4 levels before dying in the dungeon. If we can really clear the level with him, we not only gain the title, but also some level ups. Moreover, none of you are short on money. You can afford to buy equipment, but clearing this dungeon cannot be bought with money. Upon hearing this, everyone felt that Tan Huan made a lot of sense. For a moment, everyone was waiting for Li Xuanle to nod. After all, they indeed did not lack money or equipment, they only lacked levels and fame. If they could clear the super demon dungeon, it would be something to boast about for years. After pondering for a moment, Xia Bingxue looked at Li Xuanle and softly said, "How about this? If there is any equipment we can use, we can buy it at double the market price. Is that okay?" Li Xuanle heard this and thought it made sense. That can be arranged. He was mainly there to make money. Selling equipment above market price, without having to attract monsters, was a leisurely job. Although he would share some experience, it wouldn't matter much. He would certainly have to run the dungeon a few more times later with no pressure. Tianhuan looked around at Wang Hao and the others, finding no one opposing anymore, and then spoke loudly. "Li Xuanle, big shot, we've come to an agreement. You take all the items, and we just want a bit of experience." After saying this, she took out the equipment she had previously picked up from her backpack. "This piece of equipment just dropped, it's also for you." Wang Hao suddenly spoke up. "Li Xuanle, are you confident in clearing the level? Do you need us to lend you some equipment?" Li Xuanle gently shook his head. "Lend equipment? No need. But I must clarify, although we can clear the level, it doesn't mean you can survive until the end. You must find a way to save yourselves. That's natural, we just need to dodge right." Wang Hao laughed broadly, instantly understanding the other party's meaning. Everyone suddenly realized why Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao climbed up the lighthouse pole first. Li Xuanle waved his hand. "Zhao Hao, go down and collect the equipment." Zhao Hao was taken aback. "Collect equipment?" He looked at the several pieces of equipment lying on the ground, his eyes ablaze with excitement. He quickly slid down the lighthouse pole, running while saying, "That lighthouse pole is mine. I don't think you can take my lighthouse pole." Everyone rolled their eyes and pouted as if anyone would actually try to take his lighthouse pole. But at that moment, the archer Zhang Tian inadvertently climbed up the third lighthouse pole. That was the last remaining lighthouse pole on site. Wang Hao and the others watched this scene, their eyes filled with disdain. "Zhang Tian, is it really necessary?" Zhang Tian thick-skinnedly said, "As everyone knows, archers attack from a distance. Standing high allows me to shoot far. I'm not cowardly, it's a tactical necessity." Wang Hao and the others did not believe what he said. If he had said this at another time, it would have been reasonable, but at this moment it seemed a bit like a cover-up. However, everyone only despised him and did not hold it against him. Soon Zhao Hao finished collecting several pieces of equipment, even taking the one from Tianhuan's hands. He quickly climbed back up the lighthouse pole. He was very happy with a grin on his face. No matter how one looked at it, these pieces of equipment could be sold for several hundred or even thousands. This was just the first level. For the next 9 levels, those pieces of equipment would surely be even more valuable. This might not matter to the wealthy like Xia Bingxue, but for Zhao Hao and Li Xuanle, who had been impoverished for a long time, it was simply too enticing. At this time, several large characters appeared in the sky second level. Li Xuanle immediately shouted, "Everyone remember, draw the monsters to under my lighthouse pole. I will take action. Just take care of yourselves." As soon as he finished speaking, 4 dark holes in the arena once again erupted with the figures of monsters. Completely different from the stone giants this time, it was a swarm of monsters. Small in size, with red eyes, sharp claws, and fangs, they wore red hats and held steel forks and spears. Goblins. Li Xuanle instantly recognized the type of monster. He carefully checked the goblin's attributes. Goblin, common monster, level 2 health, 102,000 morality, 5 intelligence, 4 strength, 12 charm, 2 power, 8 attack, 25 defense, 14 skill, 1 throwing skill. Goblins often throw stones or other items to attack enemies, causing a certain amount of damage. Skill 2 stealing skill. Goblins often attempt to steal items from other creatures, especially valuable treasures and equipment. Players need to be vigilant about their inventory to prevent being stolen from by goblins. Skill 3 invisibility skill. Goblins have a certain ability to become invisible, allowing them to evade enemy attacks for a limited time. Skill 4 quick movement skill. Goblins are very agile, able to move quickly to dodge enemy attacks. Description: goblins, a small and ugly creature originally stemmed from the Red Hat legend in German mythology. It is said that they live in abandoned castles between England and Scotland, featuring red eyes, sharp claws and fangs, wearing a red hat and carrying a spear in their left hand. They would kill any lost traveler who wandered into their castle and would use the victim's blood to dye their hats red. Nope, beware. They often attack in groups and are vicious. Catchphrase: those beautiful girls and treasures are all ours. Li Xuanle was stunned. What the hell? How can there be such unscrupulous monsters? Morality is actually 5. Charm is actually 2. What kind of wicked deeds have they done to end up with negative values? Damn, truly damn. How many good women have they kidnapped? After venting his frustrations, he observed carefully and found the most obvious difference in this round was they came in numbers. There were countless goblins, estimated to be no less than 100. Moreover, the goblins were very fast, with a speed attribute of 12. Li Xuanle thought to himself, if it weren't for me, you would definitely be sent away. Li Xuanle carefully analyzed his toxic healing. He is now at level 2, capable of poisoning 20 targets within a 20-meter range, and can eliminate goblins in just a few rounds. Tianhuan was quite surprised how come there are level 2 monsters, and so many of them. Who leveled up? She cautiously dodged the goblins and asked loudly. Li Xuanla sat on the lighthouse pole unfazed. I leveled up to 2, so what? Tan Huan clearly did not expect that the first one to level up would be this healer. Everyone was a bit surprised that the priest was the first to level up, or it just didn't make sense. Li Xuanla shouted loudly at this moment, you all hurry to lure the monsters over, so I can take action. Wang Hao Chun Yuan Li Xiang Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan were taken aback for a moment, then all started luring monsters running in the direction where Li Xuanla was. There was completely no sign of the previous battle formation. The densely packed monsters did not allow them to stand in formation at all. Everyone was reflecting in their hearts that if it weren't for the presence of a big shot, it would have been very difficult to get through this level. Over 100 level 2 goblins were enough to tear them apart. Every second, Li Xuanla cast toxic healing on the heads of the monsters below the lighthouse. Regardless of whether the monsters got poisoned or not, he kept applying poison. The poisoned ones died faster, while the unpoisoned ones would soon perish as well. Some goblins had 4 or 5 deadly halos on their heads, while others had 1 or 2. Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue were clever, leading the monsters back and forth towards Li Xuanla. They saw that the green halo around Li Xuanla had an incredibly short cooldown, almost unbelievable. He finished casting a skill in 1 second, and in the next second, he was casting again. Moreover, they were carefully observing how the green halo cast by Li Xuanla affected the monster's health. The conclusion they reached astonished them. This was definitely a very high-level skill. The poison could actually stack, and its cooldown was extremely short, seemingly causing significant damage. Suddenly, they felt envy and jealousy. On the other side, Wang Hao was luring monsters while looking at Zhang Tian. His tone dissatisfied. Zhang Tian, aren't you ashamed? The school beauty is running around luring monsters and you're just sitting on the lighthouse. Is that really okay? Zhang Tian's face flushed, seemingly feeling a bit embarrassed. He then slid down from the lighthouse pole and joined the group luring monsters. Wang Hao's gaze glanced at Zhao Hao and Li Xuanla. Thinking about how Zhao Hao had no equipment and Li Xuanla was a priest, he decided not to say anything. At this moment, a goblin saw Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue, and its eyes lit up with excitement. The beauties are all ours. It charged excitedly towards Xia Bingxue, who became a bit flustered and quickened her escape. At this time, Wang Hao, who was paying attention to the school beauty, shouted loudly, don't panic, let me handle it. Saying this, he rushed forward to intercept the goblin for Xia Bingxue. Zhao Hao on the lighthouse looked at Wang Hao with disdain, secretly thinking tisk, he actually started to curry favor. A typical case of sour grapes. If his equipment had been good enough, he would have definitely gone down to show off. After all, Xia Bingxue was the goddess in his heart. But clearly the conditions did not allow him to act pretentiously. Meanwhile, 6 figures were all doing one thing: luring monsters. For an ordinary level 1 challenger, it was actually very difficult to outrun goblins. However, these 6 were not ordinary people. They were well-equipped, and their attribute bonuses were indeed considerable, enabling them to match the goblins' speed. However, this was limited to running speed. If they attempted to attack the goblins, their movements would inevitably slow down, leading to being overwhelmed by the goblins. They were now completely surviving in a tight space. A single miscalculation could see them intercepted by these goblins. At that moment, all that awaited them would be a bitter end. At this moment, Zhao Hao's gaze fixated on the equipment scattered on the ground, his heart itching. He wanted to go down to pick up the equipment, but with so many goblins around, it would probably be a tough situation. Damn it. To see but not be able to touch, it's so frustrating. Although he was rubbing his fists in excitement, he was still trying hard to suppress himself. Time passed second by second. About 5 minutes later, over 100 goblins had all been defeated. Tan Huan, Xia Bingxue, and the others were panting, but fortunately none of them were seriously injured. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Only Li Xuanla remained unperturbed, for he knew that it was only a matter of time before the goblins were killed. Everyone had leveled up by 1. Li Xuanla was now level 3, while everyone else was at level 2. Undoubtedly, Li Xuanla had once again allocated his attribute points to physical. His physical attribute had now reached 16 points. Logically speaking, his speed should surpass that of his toxic healing skill had also been upgraded from 20 meters for 20 targets to 30 meters for 30 targets. Along the way, he was hit by a spear thrown by a goblin, but he narrowly dodged it. Zhao Hao similarly allocated all his attribute points to physical, as he was already impressed by Li Zunel's amazing skill. So he decided to focus on physical in the early stages. After all, that was 100 goblins, just now. The attributes were equivalent to a level 5 class change, and yet they were taken care of by Li Xuanla. No blood was shed in the monster kills. A true powerhouse. Go quickly pick up the equipment. After Li Xuanla spoke, he looked at Zhao Hao only to find that Zhao Hao was already busy picking up the equipment. His movements were quite nimble. He raised his eyebrows, slightly surprised. This guy really can't do anything right, yet he is the best at picking up leftovers. Glancing around, he noticed about 8 or 9 pieces of equipment on the ground, likely worth some money. At this time, Tianhuan, Xia Bingxue, and the others, aside from being amazed by Li Zunel's incredible skill, were also eyeing the equipment. Xia Bingxue directly asked, "Is there any equipment for mages?" "Yes, if there are level 2 items, we can buy them at double the market price." Tianhuan nodded in agreement. "If there are items that add to physical, I'll buy them first." "Haha Wang, how your little schemes clang like a bell. If there are items that add to physical, I want to buy them too." Chen Yuan, the knight beside him, laughed heartily. "I want to buy too." Watching everyone discuss the equipment, Li Xuanle suddenly remembered that he had a magic cloak in his bag. A level 2 1-star magic cloak. Intelligence 8, a charm 2, the style seemed a bit feminine, which he didn't particularly like. He spoke loudly, "I have a level 2 1-star magic cloak here with intelligence 8, and charm 2. Is anyone interested?" At this moment, Wang Hao suddenly spoke up, "How much?" "I'll buy it. I want to give it to Xia Bingxue." Li Xuanle was taken aback. This guy was really a big fool. Just as he thought this, someone else spoke. No, I'll buy it. I want to give it to Xia Bingxue." The swordsman Li Xiang also chimed in. "No, let me, don't compete with me." Chen Yuan joined in. Xia Bingxue was a bit surprised, stunned for a moment. Li Xuanle didn't expect there would be so many big fools. He calmly said, 1 star is a bit more expensive than no star. Just give me 1,000 or 800. 1,000 or 800. Can I do it for 600? Wang Hao inquired. Chen Yuan laughed heartily. "Wang Hao, you should give up on this idea. I believe it can sell for at least 800 yuan. Li Xiang disagreed. 800 yuan for this? Buying it to give to the school bell. Where's the sincerity? Chen Yuan ignored Li Xiang and waved his hand. Li Xuanle, bring out that magical cloak so I can see its appearance. Li Xuanle was surprised. What? A magical cloak can be anything special. It's just a magical cloak, isn't it? He looked at everyone with some speechlessness and shook his head. Then he took out the feminine magical cloak and everyone watched intently. The cloak was a brilliant blue, shimmering with light, beautiful, dazzling, mysterious, and elegant. Chen Yuan immediately boasted. Not to mention anything else, the appearance of this magical cloak is fantastic. The school bell would definitely look good wearing it. I offer 800. Let's be bold, 900. Li Xiang said indifferently. No nonsense, 1,000. Wang Hao was not to be outdone. Li Xuanle watched this scene feeling ecstatic. Can this really feel like an auction? He quickly exclaimed, 1,000 for the first time. 1,000 for the third. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted. Chen Yuan spoke again. I'll offer 1,100. Add a bit, 1,200. Li Xiang continued his pursuit. 1,300. Wang Hao still didn't give up. Zhao Hao, Zhang Tian, and Tianhuan were all stunned. These few people were really foolish with too much money. The actual value of this magical cloak was around 800 or 900. Li Xuanle quickly waved his hand. Is there anyone willing to go higher? 2,000. I'll buy it myself, Xia Bingxue said calmly. Everyone gasped. Although they knew Xia Bingxue wasn't short on money, how could they let her be the one to take the loss? Don't. Give us a chance. This is awkward. That's quite cheeky. But we can't compete with her, can we? Several people chimed in. Li Xuanle, I suggest you give the school bell a fair price. Yes. Li Xuanle, you can't do something unethical. What good is money? If I had a magical cloak ID, just give it away, why sell it? Li Xuanle felt something was off. This situation turned around too quickly for him to react. It seemed like these people were trying to use him to offer a gift. They intended to put themselves on a moral high ground and ask him to give it away. Did they think they were not short on money like him? Give it away? Impossible, absolutely impossible. He pouted and immediately said, all right, 2,000. It's for Xia Bingxue. Not only would he not give it away, but he also decided to accept the high price of 2,000. Who would complain about having more money? Wang Hao and the others were dumbfounded. They were all lined up to give gifts to the school bell, and yet he had the chance. And here he was daring to extort the school bell. They truly admired him. They guessed that Li Xuanle would likely be a forever single man. The kind who would be single for a lifetime. Wang Hao and the others shook their heads repeatedly. Although the boss was a boss, he wouldn't win the hearts of girls, making him uncompetitive in their eyes. They also breathed a sigh of relief. They knew that beautiful girls usually liked strong men. Just now they were worried that the somewhat handsome Li Xuanle would be their competitor. But after seeing that foolish scene, they believed Li Xuanle clearly had no chance. What girl would like such a big... Isn't this a typical big straight man? Zhao Hao spoke softly. Big brother, I think 2,000 is not appropriate. After speaking, he looked at Li Xuanle and advised him. Li Xuanle raised an eyebrow and glared at Zhao Hao. What do you have to do with this? Stay put. After saying that, Li Xuanle quickly slid down the lighthouse pole and handed the magical cloak to Xia Bingxue Cash or WeChat. Xia Bingxue, wearing the magical cloak, was about to make the payment when her face turned red. Can I give you a dungeon run instead? Seeing her expression, Li Xuanle knew she probably didn't bring much cash. Sure, no problem. Li Xuanle didn't think the school bell would owe him money, so he quickly climbed back up the lighthouse pole. Wang Hao and the others looked at Li Xuanle as if he were a rare specimen. Awesome. Impressive. That's good. One less competitor. Wang Hao and the others bought some gear from Zhao Hao and quietly awaited the arrival of the third round. At this moment, 3 large characters appeared in the sky, third round. At this time at the dungeon building, a handsome student suddenly appeared. He stood calmly at the entrance of the Super Ghost dungeon managed by Tang Wu. He looked steadily at Tang Wu full of confidence. "Director Tang, I want to solo the Super Ghost dungeon." Tang Wu looked at the lone young student, quite surprised with a hint of doubt in his brow. He even rubbed his ears. "What? Did I hear that wrong? You want to solo the Super Ghost dungeon?" "I didn't hear wrong, solo." Tang Wu was extremely shocked. "What is your name? Which class are you in?" "Lin Yu class 31, also known as Kunping class." "I know Kunping class, Lin Yu. What is your summoner?" "Summoner. Have you summoned a powerful familiar?" Lin Yu smiled lightly. "That's right." Tang Wu was excited. "What familiar?" Lin Yu gently shook his head. "Sorry, I can't answer that right now." Tang Wu was a bit disappointed but highly understanding. "Are you sure you want to solo the Super Ghost dungeon?" "Absolutely sure," Lin Yu confidently replied. "Do you know what soloing the Super Ghost dungeon means, eh?" Tang Wu doubted that Lin Yu was a bit confused. The Super Ghost dungeon means 10 deaths with no life, though no student has succeeded in challenging it to this day. "Since you know, why would you still dare to solo the dungeon?" Tang Wu found it hard to understand. "Because I am confident enough," Lin Yu revealed his white teeth. Tang Wu looked at this young man who for some reason seemed so confident and suddenly had a feeling of believing in him. "In that case, I will open another dungeon." Tang Wu nodded, still in doubt. "Open another dungeon? Has anyone opened one already?" Lin Yu caught the details from Tang Wu's words. "Yes, a 6-person team, oh no, an 8-person team has opened one, all top 10 students of the grade." Lin Yu's eyes turned. "Is Xia Bingxue among them?" Tang Wu looked at Lin Yu in surprise. "You know them?" "That group is loud and boisterous, making a lot of noise, hard not to know them," Lin Yu said nonchalantly. "But their actual combat power is about that. They aren't even as strong as Li Chun, the sword saint profession." At that moment, Tang Wu squinted his eyes. A glint of sharp light flashed through. "So you're saying that you don't regard Li Chun, the sword saint profession, highly?" "He's just the number 1 on the surface, but I don't think highly of him." Lin Yu's words were light, but carried significant weight. This made Tang Wu feel a bit puzzled. Could it be that Fengchu Academy has so many talents this time? It's worth noting that the sword saint profession is a hidden profession, an upgraded version of the swordsman, immensely powerful. It has the strongest solo combat ability without a doubt. Li Chun is the one who triggered the hidden sword saint profession this year. He is recognized as the strongest in the grade. Yet this Lin Yu doesn't regard him highly. Tang Wu rubbed his chin's sparse beard, constantly pondering what kind of beast has Lin Yu summoned. It is worth noting that even Li Chun, a master swordsman, has not claimed he would tackle the Super Ghost dungeon alone. Tang Wu, filled with confusion, remarked, "Fine, although I do not understand where your courage comes from, I still hope to witness a miracle." After saying that, he slowly rose and pressed a mysterious button. A blue vortex appeared at the opening. "Good luck." "Thank you. I appreciate your well wishes." With confidence, Lin Yu stepped into the Super Ghost dungeon. Once Lin Yu entered, Tang Wu immediately released his grip. He then picked up his phone and dialed a number. Guan Shangyue. Guan Shangyue is the principal of the Fengchu Academy and a level 72 swordsman. "Principal Guan, we have a situation." Tang Wu's gaze was sharp, devoid of any lewd demeanor. "Director Tang Wu, what is the situation?" A voice filled with curiosity came through the phone. "A student claims he wants to solo the Super Ghost dungeon, and he is brimming with confidence." "What? Solo? Is it Li Chun, the master swordsman?" Guan Shangyue asked curiously. "No." Tang Wu denied Guan Shanyue's guess. "Not? Then who is it?" Guan Shangyue was indeed intrigued by Tang Wu's revelation. "Lin Yu, the summoner," Tang Wu said calmly. "A summoner? Lin Yu?" Guan Shangyue was quite surprised and continued, "The summoner profession has a vast disparity between its lower and upper limits. If the summoned beast is a strong growth-type monster, it can be formidable. Indeed, Principal Guan, I suspect Lin Yu's summoned beast is exceptionally powerful." Tang Wu recalled Lin Yu's exceedingly confident gaze. "Keep a close watch. If he clears 4 levels of the Super Ghost dungeon, let me know. I want to see how things unfold." Guan Shanyue's tone carried a hint of delight. It has been a long time since a remarkable transfer talent has emerged in Wulong City. As one of the 3 major academies in Wulong City, Guan Shangyue felt considerable pressure. Of course, the other 2 academies, the Tunglong Academy and the Heibai Academy, also faced pressure. They were all struggling for excellent student recruitment. Naturally, the students' ultimate goal remained the Super Divine Academy. The academy is a more prestigious institution than a typical academy. Graduates from the Super Divine Academy can almost stand alone in any situation. Therefore, gaining admission to the Super Divine Academy is a dream for every student. There are only 3 academies in the entirety of Xia country: the Super Divine Academy, the Super Spiritual Academy, and the Super Extraordinary Academy. The Super Divine Academy ranks first, followed by the Super Spiritual Academy, and then the Super Extraordinary Academy. All right, Principal Guan, I will remind you when the time comes. Thank you for your hard work. Not at all. Alright, I have other matters to attend to. I will hang up now. After he finished speaking, Guan Shanhua hung up the phone. At this moment, Tang Wu turned his head and was astonished to find the Xia Bingxue team had actually reached the 4th level. This was the team that had 2 deadweights. He never expected they would make it to the 4th level, believing they could only reach the 3rd. Because the 3rd level features ghosts which excel at stealth and ambushes. Unbelievable. Are their strengths truly that formidable? Meanwhile, Lin Ye's solo dungeon had also swiftly cleared the 1st level. This guy is going solo. Tang Wu's expression suddenly turned lively. Interesting. Very interesting. He gazed at this unexpected situation, unable to refrain from murmuring. Since he could only see the progress of the levels and not the detailed scenes, he did not continue to pay attention. Moments later, he picked up his phone and began scrolling through Douyin videos again. Unsurprisingly, the opening screen featured a girl. Inside the dungeon, Li Xuanle remained composed atop the lighthouse pole. He had already leveled up to level 4, and the target for his skill Poisonous Healing was now 40 with a range of 40 meters. As the number of targets increased and the distance grew, his speed in eliminating monsters became increasingly slow. There was no monster he couldn't handle within 2 minutes. He donned a pair of level 3 equipment Swift Wind boots, which added 8 points to his physique. His physique attribute had now reached 29 points, theoretically allowing him to run exceptionally fast. Meanwhile, the 6 individuals below continued to lead the monsters away and escape. Breathless. Damn, why do I feel like with this playstyle I only need to run fast enough? Right, I think so. I thought I was the only one thinking this. Why don't we all just increase our physique? Forget it. This tactic can only be played by Li Xuanle. When facing monsters later, what good would running do? Moreover, once the attribute points are allocated, they cannot be reverted. This is a lifetime decision. That makes sense. Meanwhile, Zhao Hao, besides leeching experience and equipment, only served as a go. You are the strongest. Go. You are the best. After shouting, he resumed checking the equipment in his inventory. A total of 20 pieces. He was overjoyed. He could sell them for quite a bit of money. He was already fantasizing about a wonderful life after the dungeon. Not only that, but his current equipment had also been completely refreshed, and he had basically acquired everything he needed. He was already considering actively going down to lure monsters. Yet he hesitated, primarily thinking it was unnecessary. He genuinely felt it wasn't out of fear. Having one more or one less doesn't matter. Staying on this lighthouse pole is quite good. The monsters in the 4th level are Ice Serpent Demon. There are not many, only 6. However, they are long and thick with high defense and speed, capable of unleashing icy fangs and frost breaths with attacks that have freezing effects and deal magical damage. Li Xuanle favored such monsters that are few in number but incredibly powerful. After all, health loss is calculated as a percentage. He even applied 6 layers of Poisonous Healing to these 6 Ice Serpent Demons. In under a minute, all were defeated. Thus, the 4th level was cleared. Zhao Hao, as usual, gathered the dropped equipment, his smile completely unabashed. He suddenly felt that being a sidekick was quite nice. Hugging onto a strong ally felt great. Meanwhile, in the dungeon building, Tang Wu was happily watching Douyin girls dance, casting a glance at the dungeon progress. Suddenly his pupils dilated. They actually cleared the 4th level. He rubbed his eyes and looked again at the dungeon's progress. The 4th level was indeed completed. This was the team that included the campus belle Xia Bingxue along with 2 deadweights. How could this be possible? The 4th level features the Ice Serpent Demon, which is a very powerful monster with magical attacks, all 6 of them. The Ice Serpent Demon is incredibly difficult to deal with in reality, with area damage that can cause one to be slowed or even frozen if not careful. How could they possibly clear it so quickly? He even stood up to check the equipment. Everything appeared normal. He snapped out of his shock, picked up his phone, closed the Douyin video, and dialed Guan Shanhua's number. What happened, Tang Wu? Did Lin Yu clear the 4th level? No. Then what is it? Someone indeed cleared the 4th level, but it wasn't Lin Yu. Tang Wu, stop keeping me in suspense. Just say it clearly in one sentence. Guan Shanhua was evidently intrigued once more. The Xia Bingxue team has cleared the 4th level and entered the 5th level. What? Entering the 5th level? Really? Tang Wu spoke with utmost seriousness. Although he could hardly believe it, the dungeon progress indeed reflected so. Old Tang, are you sure you're not pulling my leg? How could I deceive you? They truly have reached the 5th level. Guan Shanhua pondered for a moment. Then I must see it for myself. With that, Guan Shanhua hurriedly hung up the phone. To reach the 5th level indicated that there were exceptionally strong students exerting their power. This also implied that Fengchu Academy might have promising talents, and if nurtured, well, they could have a chance in the friendship competition among the 3 major academies. The friendship competition among the 3 major academies of Wulong City takes place within a month after the completion of job transfers. Although it is officially labeled as a friendship match, it is essentially a demonstration of the academy's strengths. Once a competition is won, the Wulong City government grants substantial resource support to the victorious academy, including money, materials, equipment, gems, and dungeons. Hence, every academy places great importance on this matter. Thinking of the special approval for Li Chun to undergo life-and-death training in the wild, and Lin Yu, who soloed the Super Ghost Dungeon. Guan Shangyue immediately felt a surge of confidence. If it were just Li Chun with a hidden class, it would indeed be rather flimsy. Guan Shangyue knew that both Tunglong Academy and Heibai Academy had students with hidden classes. The emergence of Lin Yu and the outstanding performance of Xia Bingshu's team surprised him greatly. In that case, Li Chun would not be fighting alone. Victory was very likely to fall to Fengchu Academy, which had not secured first place for several consecutive. Li Xuanle had already slid down from the lighthouse pole. The monsters in this level were not ordinary. The flying monster, Thunder Eagle, primarily attacked using claw strikes and beak jabs, while also unleashing lightning for ranged attacks. There were a total of 20 of them. They prioritized attacking aerial targets, prompting Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao to immediately run to the ground. Li Xuanle, with all his attributes in body, was the fastest runner on the field, followed closely by Zhao Hao. The rest stared in astonishment at the remarkable speed of the two. What are these two guys playing at? One is a priest. The other is a swordsman. How can they run so fast? Among them, the most confused was Tan Huan, who, as a speed-oriented assassin, found herself outpaced and stared at Li Xuanle in disbelief. Hey, how can you, a priest, run faster than me? I'm not Hey, I'm Li Xuanle. Alright, Li Xuanle, how come you're running so fast? As he ran, Li Xuanle cast poison milk on the Thunder Eagles within range, replying, because I have all my points. Tan Huan found this hard to comprehend. If you focus entirely on body, then won't your priest skills be useless? Li Xuanle casually replied, priest skills? How are they useless? How could they be useless? You can't provide strong healing to others, right? Why would I need to provide strong healing to others? I'm a poison priest, not a healer. Tan Huan was bewildered. Li Zunel's response completely overturned her worldview. You truly are toxic. She then turned her gaze to Zhao Hao, discovering that his speed surprisingly matched hers. Unable to help herself, she asked, you, a swordsman, don't also have all your points in body, do you? Zhao Hao nonchalantly nodded. Yeah, I have all my points in body. What's wrong with that? Tan Huan was left speechless, pulling at the corner of her mouth. Then in the future, your strength surely won't be enough to kill monsters. Kill monsters. Which is more important, killing monsters or staying alive? It should be staying alive, right? Tan Huan replied uncertainly. Zhao Hao nodded, then it settled. What could be better for survival than pouring into body? But Tan Huan wanted to argue further, but found herself unable to. In this world, survival indeed comes first, while killing monsters comes second. At this moment, Tan Huan's belief in prioritizing attack wavered. She began to wonder if she should also focus on body. However, once faced with monsters and enemies, would just running away be a viable strategy? Beside them, Wang Hao couldn't help but comment, just now Li Xuanle healed me a couple of times, and I felt nothing at all. He truly is a poison priest, only caring about himself and ignoring others. Ha ha ha. Ha. Chun Yuan, Li Xiong, and the others burst into laughter. When God opens a door for him, he also closes a window, so it's only natural. I think we shouldn't treat Li Xuanle as a priest, but rather as a toxic mage. Wow, a super fast toxic mage. Suddenly, the archer Zhang Tian had a brilliant idea. I feel like I've discovered an interesting kite strategy from Li Xuanle. I might be able to learn it too. Your bow's damage is simply insufficient. Oh, what nonsense are you thinking? Exactly, can you even kill a big monster by kiting all day? Stop daydreaming. Zhang Tian laughed awkwardly and fell silent, for they were indeed speaking. In less than 2 minutes, all 20 Thunder Eagles in the 5th level had lost health and perished. Zhao Hao excitedly picked up the dropped equipment from the ground. There were a total of 6 pieces. Among them, one piece of equipment was particularly eye-catching, a level 5 2-star swift cloak with the attribute body 12. Zhao Hao immediately handed this body-enhancing equipment to Li Xuanle. He knew that Li Xuanle valued equipment that enhances body, so he was offering it as a gift. Big brother, this equipment has body 12. Do you want it? Li Xuanle took it, glanced at it, and decisively equipped it without hesitation. As long as it enhances body, he would accept it all. He even thought about whether he had enough money to look for body tribute gems to embed in his equipment, to elevate his speed to another level. His strategy was actually inspired by the alchemist in the Game of the Canyon, who runs incredibly fast and is difficult to kill. However, his approach was more sophisticated than that of the alchemist. He could release poison from a distance while being virtually immortal, merely needing to enhance his speed to avoid injury. Now at level 5, he could simultaneously cast poison milk on 50 targets within a 50-meter range. His body had already reached a terrifying 45. Just at level 5, the current monsters could hardly touch Li Xuanle. The others had also reached level 4. Aside from Zhao Hao, who had all points in body, the others had their attribute points distributed more evenly, resulting in speeds of less than 20. At this moment, large characters reappeared in the sky's 6th level. At the entrance to the Super Ghost Dungeon in the dungeon building, Tang Wu had just hung up the phone and was preparing to watch a video when he caught sight of something and couldn't help but exclaim, "What the heck?" The information displayed Xia Bingshu's team had already entered the 6th level. The 5th level had been cleared in only a few minutes. This. He could hardly believe it. The 5th level comprised 20 flying thunder eagles. How could they have been defeated so quickly? There must be something wrong with the dungeon system. He glanced again at Lin Yu's solo dungeon situation. His pupils once again trembled. He has reached the 3rd level all by himself. This is truly unbelievable. Tang Wu's gaze darted back and forth between Lin Yu's instance and Xia Bingshu's team instance. Odd occurrences happen every year, but today there are particularly many. Lin Yu was soloing the instance, and Tang Wu already had his suspicions. Lin Yu must have an extraordinary summoning beast allowing him to advance with such ease. But Xia Bingshu's team, how could they be so formidable? Could they have a powerful hidden class? He decided to put down his phone and carefully watch the progress of Xia Bingshu's team in the instance. He remembered that the 6th level featured a troll gorilla. Though there was only one, it was incredibly abnormal, boasting high defense, high health, and high attack. A typical 3-high monster. Moreover, it was a 3-star monster capable of easily annihilating a 10-person team. Such a creature would be considered a small leader in reality. Many adventurers had perished at its hands. However, just as he was leaning back and preparing to watch closely, he realized that the instance had already entered the 7th level. He slapped his thigh suddenly. No way. Absolutely impossible. This monster would take at least half an hour to defeat. Did they really complete it in just a minute or two? Could they have exploited a bug? He puffed out his cheeks, glaring, and took a big gulp from the glass teacup beside him. Then he spat out 2 goji seeds. Shaking his head, trying to clear his mind, he carefully focused on the progress of Xia Bingshu's instance, the 7th level. He wasn't mistaken, nor was he hallucinating. It was indeed the 7th level. He gaped as if he could swallow the world, continuously murmuring in his heart, "What the hell? What the hell?" He immediately took out his phone and dialed Guan Shanyu's number. "Old Tang, I'm almost there. Has anyone passed the 5th level?" Guan Shanyu's deep and resonant voice came through. "Old Guan, is this instance outdated and malfunctioning? It seems a bit abnormal." Tang Wu asked hesitantly. His manner of address had gradually become casual. "An issue with the instance? How could that be? This is a very mature instance, just over 10 years old, nearly brand new." Tang Wu continued, "Then how did the troll gorilla get resolved in minutes?" Guan Shanyu's tone was filled with astonishment. "What? The troll gorilla was defeated in minutes? If I remember correctly, that's the 6th level." "Yes, the 6th level was cleared in minutes, and they've reached the 7th level." "Was it Lin Yu or the Xia Bingshu team?" "It was the Xia Bingshu team." Guan Shanyue fell silent. Could it be that there was truly a powerhouse among Xia Bingshu's team? Perhaps a hidden class like a Sword Immortal. The Sword Immortal class is stronger and more domineering than the Sword Saint class. Sword techniques, all swords returning to 1. All dealing overwhelming damage. He hung up the phone, quickening his pace towards the Super Ghost instance. He was eager to see the situation with his own eyes. Tang Wu noticed that the call had ended and looked back at the 2 activated instance notifications. He was stunned. Completely stunned. As expected, Lin Yu was advancing with green lights all the way while the Xia Bingshu team was clearing levels every 2 minutes. The subsequent levels were all single boss type monsters, very strong and abnormal. However, for Xia Bingshu and her team, they seemed to pose no threat. Tang Wu rummaged through his pocket and took out a bottle of medicine. If they had taken medicine, then how could they? Finally, Guan Shanyue arrived near Tang Wu's Super Ghost instance. Before he arrived, his voice preceded him. "Old Tang, what's the situation now?" After the voice reached Tang Wu's ears after several seconds, a lean, capable, and sprightly elder with gray hair appeared before Tang Wu. He was Guan Shanyue, the president of Fengchu Academy, a level 72 swordsman. "You see for yourself. If you had come 2 minutes later, they would have cleared it." Tang Wu spread his hands and then pointed at the instance information. Guan Shanyue's gaze followed where Tang Wu pointed. The 10th level. It was actually the 10th level. The 10th level featured a 4-star boss, the Thunder Giant Python, capable of unleashing deadly lightning attacks and thunderstorm techniques, possessing powerful range strike capabilities. This Thunder Giant Python was incredibly powerful in reality. 4 stars signify its extraordinary strength. The gap between star levels and odd games is not small. Ordinary monsters are generally unstarred, with low-level monsters rated from 1 to 3 stars, intermediate monsters from 4 to 6 stars, and high-level monsters from 7 to 9 stars. As for 10-star monsters, none have appeared so far. Guan Shanyue's expression fluctuated, revealing contemplation. Could it be that the legend of the Super Ghost instance remaining unconquered was about to be broken? Guan Shanyue's face flushed slightly, his emotions stirred. Tang Wu pointed at another instance notification. "Old Guan, look, this one is Lin Yu's solo instance. He has already reached the 4th level." Guan Shanyue's eyes widened as he closely stared at the instance information, the 4th level. After a moment of contemplation, he excitedly said, "This Lin, you must have a very powerful summoning beast." Tang Wu nodded repeatedly. Yes, I think so too." He must have a tremendous summoning beast. I just wonder what kind of summoning beast it is. Guan Shangyue stroked the sparse beard on his chin, his face filled with doubt. While the two were talking, a cerulean, swirling vortex appeared in the room. In the next moment, Tan Huan, Xia Bingxue, Wang Hao, and others successively emerged from the vortex. Finally, it was Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao. As soon as they appeared, they saw Tang Wu and Guan Shangyue. They immediately greeted, "Hello, President." "Hello, President." Tang Wu's gaze turned to the instant step. They actually cleared it. At this moment, Guan Shangyue looked at the group excitedly. "Good, very good, exceptionally good. You actually completed the Super Ghost instance clearing as the first team." He stroked his beard and excitedly said, "Don't tell me yet, let me guess." He looked at Xia Bingxue and the others, his eyes filled with curiosity. "Among you, there must be a hidden class, right?" Tan Huan nodded first. Seeing someone nod, Guan Shangyue couldn't contain his joy. "Good, don't tell me, let me guess who the hidden class is." The crowd was speechless. At this moment, school was almost over. Still guessing. Guan Shangyue was eagerly interested. "Is it a girl?" Tan Huan shook her head. "Then it must be a boy." The crowd exchanged glances, and the statement felt as vague as not saying anything. Suddenly a voice echoed in Li Zunel's mind. "Ding. You have triggered a system task, please collect it." He immediately checked the system task 1. Directly tell Guan Shangyue that the hidden class is Wang Hao the Dragon Knight. Completion reward 2-star body 10 attribute gem. 2. Remain silent, quietly wait for Guan Shangyue to guess slowly until the end. Completion reward beauty 1 point. 2-star body attribute gem 10 points. While there's no need to hesitate. He immediately spoke, "President, the hidden class is Wang Hao the Dragon Knight." Upon hearing this, Guan Shangyue was taken aback, his expression gloomy as he looked at Li Xuanle. Who is this guy daring to interrupt his excitement? After all, he had experienced great storms and waves. Guan Shangyue was not angry over such trivial matters. He turned his gaze to the crowd. "Wang Hao, Dragon Knight. Which student is that?" Wang Hao immediately replied, "Dean, it's me." Guan Shangyue looked at him with a smile. "I didn't expect the Dragon Knight to be so powerful, able to clear the Super Ghost dungeon. It truly opened my eyes." Wang Hao, hearing this, spoke with a hint of guilt. "Dean, the clearance wasn't because of me." Tang Wu was stunned, and Guan Shangyue was also taken aback. Was it not due to his hidden profession? Tang Wu was the first to ask. "If not you, then who else could it be?" Guan Shangyue curiously stared at Wang Hao. If it wasn't because of him, could there be another hidden profession? At this moment, Wang Hao pointed to Li Xuanle. "It's because of him that we were able to clear it." Tang Wu and Guan Shanyue's gazes instantly turned to Li Xuanle. Guan Shangyue was quite surprised, his tone filled with skepticism. Tang Wu spoke in astonishment. "But isn't he a priest? How is that possible?" Nearby Xia Bingxue also chimed in. "That's right, it was indeed because of him that we cleared it. Otherwise we would have likely been stuck at the 3rd or 4th level." Guan Shangyue curiously asked, "What's his name? Which class is he in?" Tang Wu quickly explained, "Old Guan, it's like this. His name seems to be Li Xuanle from class 2 of year 3. His profession is a priest, and he was called by Yang Yu to experience the cruelty of monsters. But who would have thought he cleared the dungeon? Is it because he healed you, allowing you to fight more fiercely and clear it?" Guan Shangyue curiously inquired. "No, it's because he can apply poison." Tan Huan explained seriously from the side. "Apply poison?" Guan Shangyue found it hard to understand. Tang Wu also appeared very shocked. "A healer can apply poison? What kind of bizarre thing is that?" "Yes, it's a rather perverse poison." Everyone nodded in agreement. "So that means you can heal and apply poison at the same time." Guan Shangyue widened his eyes, looking at Li Xuanle. Li Xuanle was checking the 2-star body attribute gem in his inventory when he was suddenly called and caught off guard. He hurriedly said, yes, that's right." Nearby Wang Hao couldn't help but laugh. "But his healing effect is very weak, rather you could say he's a poison master disguised as a healer." "Poison master?" Guan Shangyue slowly walked towards Li Xuanle, gently pulling his arm and examining him closely. After several rounds of scrutiny, he solemnly said, "I think you have a secret. Come with me." After saying that, he prepared to take Li Xuanle away. At that moment, Tang Wu suddenly called out to Guan Shangyue, "Wait. Old Guan. This clearance needs to be announced throughout the academy, right?" Guan Shangyue halted, turning to look at Tang Wu. "Of course it needs to be announced. Every name of the person who cleared it should be written down to inspire other students to bravely take on challenges." "All right, I'll take care of it." Tang Wu nodded. Guan Shangyue nodded in satisfaction and then took Li Xuanle away. After walking a couple of steps, Guan Shangyue stopped again, looking at Tang Wu. "If Lin Yu clears the Super Ghost dungeon by himself, that should also be announced throughout the academy. If he clears it, have him come to my office." "All right, old Guan, don't worry." Tang Wu rubbed his stomach and nodded. Zhao Hao looked longingly at Li Xuanle. "Brother, you don't wait for me, you go ahead." "Oh." Li Xuanle followed Guan Shangyue. Seeing Guan Shangyue leave, Tang Wu looked eagerly at Xia Bingxue and the others. "Can you tell me what happened inside? How much did the poison Li Xuanle apply contribute to clearing the dungeon?" Tan Huan spoke seriously. "About 99. 99? What? How is that possible?" Tang Wu's face was filled with disbelief. Let's put it this way, he could clear the dungeon completely by himself. Yeah, we were just riding on his coattails. Xia Bingxue nodded emphatically. But how could he do it alone? Poison. Tang Wu found it hard to understand. No, there's also speed. Tan Huan analyzed carefully. Speed? Where does that come from? Tang Wu's face was full of confusion. Director Tang, have you ever seen a priest who allocates all their points to body? Tan Huan looked at Tang Wu, half smiling. A priest who allocates all to body. I've never seen one. Tang Wu shook his head repeatedly. Li Xuanla focuses entirely on body and runs exceptionally fast. How can that be? Can it be played like this? Tang Wu's features and worldview shook in disbelief. He thought for a moment, so he's using a kite strategy, applying poison while running away. You, Director Tang, are truly impressive, you've guessed it right. Tan Huan lightly applauded. Tang Wu, flattered, suppressed a smile and waved his hand slightly. Oh, it was just a random guess. In any case, congratulations to you all. You are very fortunate to be among the first batch from Fengshu Academy to clear the Super Ghost Dungeon. However, don't get too proud. You should know that Lin Yu has already entered the Super Ghost Dungeon by himself. He said this with a hint of a warning against arrogance. Upon hearing this, Xia Bingxue immediately spoke up. I just heard Ding Guan mention that Lin Yu is solo clearing the Super Ghost Dungeon. What's the situation now? Tang Wu replied calmly. He has already reached the 5th level. Although his clearing speed isn't as fast as yours, it's still quite impressive. What? The 5th level? Solo clearing? Wang Hao looked on incredulously. Yes, he's a summoner and probably summoned a very powerful summoned beast. Tang Wu felt very gratified and continued. It seems that our Fengshu Academy has a chance to secure first place in this year's 3 Academy Friendship match. He suddenly seemed to think of something and looked at Wang Hao. Since you are a dragon knight, you must also have great potential. Are you looking to find a dragon pet to fully utilize your hidden profession's advantages? Wang Hao nodded. That should be the case. Well, it might be a bit difficult to find one. This kind of thing is hard to come by, and even having money doesn't guarantee it. Tang Wu's gaze was deep. Dragon knights are rare, and even he with his knowledge had never seen one. The dragons among monsters are at least above 8 stars, which ordinary people cannot contend against. The lowest level dragon is at least level 80. It's worth noting that Ding Guan Shanyue is only level 72. This level is quite different from pure game levels. Before level 30, leveling up is relatively fast, but the later stages slow down significantly. Therefore, level 30 is also the required level for the Super Divine Academy exam. Li Xuanla and the others are only around level 8 after clearing. Tang Wu came back to his senses and looked at Wang Hao. But it's okay, let's take it one step at a time. Wang Hao nodded. In fact, he wasn't too worried about this issue, mainly because his family was quite wealthy. He believed that money could help him solve this problem. He had already asked his family to look for a dragon pet at any cost. In the dungeon, Lin Yu looked at the summoning beast giant python growing before him, revealing its white teeth. Little python, you can indeed grow by devouring. If this continues, we will be invincible. Ha ha ha. What can the sword Saintly Chen do? Absolutely unable to compete with me. At this moment, outside Wulong City, on a desolate mountain, a young man swiftly gestured with both hands, wielding 2 long swords that danced wildly in the air, wreaking havoc. He is the only student from Fengshu Academy specially authorized by Guan Shanyue to leave the city. Ranked first in his class, Li Xuanla, hidden profession, sword saint. Achoo. He suddenly sneezed, saying, who is talking about me? Meanwhile, in Guan Shanyue's office, Li Xuanla sat in a chair, still looking nonchalant. His relaxed demeanor made it seem as if the dean's office was his own dormitory. Across from him, Guan Shanyue stared intently at him. He remained silent for a long time, his eyes filled with curiosity. Despite Li Zunel's calmness, he felt a bit uneasy under the intense gaze and couldn't help but speak up. Ding Guan, just ask what you want to know, don't stare at me like that. Guan Shanyue still didn't respond, instead taking a sip from a glass teacup. The glass teacup looked quite old with a thick layer of tea stains. Huh, he spat out the tea residue, then squinted at Li Xuanla, as if he were examining a rare treasure. Finally, he spoke slowly, revealing slightly yellowed teeth. A priest can actually use poison. Yes, I accidentally obtained a peculiar skill that allows me to use poison. Can you describe this poison in detail? Guan Shanyue remained composed, taking another sip from the teacup before spitting out more tea residue. Is there any water here? You're thirsty? Just watching me drink water. Guan Shanyue didn't expect this kid to make demands, so he pointed to a nearby bottle of mineral water. There, get it yourself. After thanking him, Li Xuanla picked up a bottle of mineral water and gulped it down. Then he burped loudly. Guan Shanyue shot him an annoyed glance, thinking, can you really drink enough, just like that? Seeing Li Xuanla slowly put down the mineral water, he spoke mysteriously. Dean, this poison is no joke. It drains health based on a percentage. Percentage? How does that work? 1 per second, lasting for 100 seconds. Li Xuanla didn't hide anything. After all, he was already invincible. So getting hit means death. Guan Shanyue's eyes widened. Pretty much. That's so insane. No wonder you cleared so easily. Guan Shanyue's gaze towards Li Xuanla gradually became fervent. What's the cooldown for that skill? Only, whoa. Guan Shangyue almost blurted out in shock, but quickly corrected himself. This is my first time seeing something like this. It's my first time too. Li Xuanle chimed in. Where did this skill come from? Are there any job requirements? I found it, but it can only be used by priests. Li Xuanle lied without batting an eye. That's a poorly told lie. Guan Shangyue shook his head, easily seeing through Li Xuanle's level of deceit. However, he didn't press further as it was unnecessary. Once a skill book is used, it disappears. After pondering for a moment, he inquired again, how did you allocate your attribute points? All into body. Li Xuanle answered truthfully. All into body. So you prioritize speed? Yeah, Li Xuanle nodded. Guan Shangyue leaned back, looking seriously at Li Xuanle. I'd like to hear your evaluation of me. Li Xuanle didn't hesitate. Invincible. Guan Shangyue looked at Li Xuanle in astonishment. You're not humble at all. Be serious. Li Xuanle wore a proud and earnest expression. Dean, I'm quite serious about what I said. Guan Shangyue scrutinized the carefree young man before him as if trying to discern something. After a long moment, he solemnly asked, do you think you can defeat Li Chun? That's too easy. It'll take, Li Xuanle replied casually. Are you sure? Guan Shanyue's expression changed. Of course. Good, since you're so confident, there are some things I need to discuss with you. Guan Shanyue looked at Li Xuanle seriously. Do you know the ultimate purpose of our job change? Li Xuanle pondered for a moment, stroking his chin. To survive, to fight against game monsters. No, game monsters are endless. That's not the main reason. Then what is? Li Xuanle asked. The arrival of this bizarre game has its significance. It relates to the issue of fortune. Fortune. The fortune of Blue Star is very poor, which is why game monsters appear so frequently. This is all because the participants from Blue Star in the Cosmic Cube failed to seize enough fortune during their competition against countless races. Cosmic Cube. There's such a thing. I've never heard of it. Generally, people don't know about this. We only discuss this with those with great potential. So what's the reason you're telling me this? The reason I'm telling you is that I see your potential. I want to let you know that those with ability and talent should aim for the stars and the sea, not be a frog at the bottom of a well. Stars and the sea. Li Xuanle was taken aback by Guan Shanyue's words. He initially thought that with his invincible talent and the unique skill of poison, he could dominate Blue Star, but now he realized there was a bigger world. It seemed the situation was more complex than he imagined. Guan Shanyue nodded, continuing, but don't think too far ahead. Focus on leveling up. Every dangerous area has level requirements like the Cosmic Cube, which requires at least level 100 to enter. The Super God Academy requires at least level 30 to qualify for entry, and countless wilderness secret realms also have corresponding level requirements for entry. Right now you have 3 urgent matters. 1 is the outdoor training in 3 days. Another is the inter-academy friendly competition within a month, and the last is the Super God Academy's admission assessment in 100 days. If you want to know more secrets about the Cosmic Cube, you must enter the Super God Academy to qualify for more specific information. Even I don't have that qualification. Okay, Dean, I think I understand. Li Xuanle nodded thoughtfully. I've only discussed this with Li Chun and you, and maybe Lin Yu as well. Li Chun and Lin Yu. Guan Shanyue nodded. Li Chun, hidden profession. Sword Saint. I don't need to elaborate on his potential, right? Li Xuanle nodded, knowing that the Sword Saint is one of the strongest professions in unknown combat among hidden professions, not to mention others like the Blade Saint. Guan Shanyue slowly continued. As for Lin Yu, he is a summoner. He probably has a very powerful summon beast and is solo clearing the Ultra Ghost dungeon. Guan Shanyue was clearly very attentive to Lin Yu's performance. Solo clearing. Yes, solo clearing. What's so impressive about solo clearing? I can do it too. Li Xuanle pouted, a proud expression on his face. Guan Shanyue gave Li Xuanle an annoyed look. I find your biggest trait is your lack of humility. Li Xuanle detected the hidden meaning in the words. You really have a thick skin. At that moment, the ringtone of Guan Shanyue's phone rang. He immediately checked his phone. The caller was Tang Wu. He answered the call right away. What's going on again, Lao Tang? Lao Guan. Lin Yu solo cleared the Super Ghost dungeon. He indeed has some skills to tell him to come to my office. The excitement on Guan Shanyue's face was unmistakable. Clearing 2 Super Ghost dungeons in a row was no small feat. Before today, no student had ever cleared one. This Super Ghost dungeon was cleared so easily for the first time. He believed that this year Fengshu Academy would produce remarkable talents. Li Chun, Li Xuanle, and Lin Yu would undoubtedly stand out among their peers. But who would be the best among them? He couldn't judge. However, he was full of confidence for the friendship competition among the 3 academies and was determined to win. He hung up the phone and looked at Li Xuanle. All right, our communication has ended. You can go back and rest now. Remember the stars and the sea. After nodding, Li Xuanle stood up to leave. Once outside the office, he took out his phone to check the time. It was around 6 o'clock, time for dinner. Accidentally opening WeChat, he suddenly found the class group buzzing. No way. Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao stepped in dog poop. They actually cleared the Super Ghost dungeon with Xia Bingshu's team. Wow, I really envy them. This title will last for years. I really can't believe they got to interact with Xia Bingshu up close. That's my goddess. No one would have thought that Xia Bingxue and others cleared the Super Ghost dungeon thanks to the priest Li Xuanla. While walking down the corridor, Li Xuanla was suddenly approached by a handsome young man. He looked calm and steady, appearing quite composed. He stared at Li Xuanla and suddenly spoke, Li Xuanla. Li Xuanla was a bit surprised. Who are you? Me. Lin Yu. You are Lin Yu. You know me. Lin Yu nodded lightly, taking a keen interest in Li Xuanla. Teacher Tang Wu just mentioned you, a priest who can poison and cleared the Super Ghost dungeon. You have some skills that completely surprised me. Haha, just basic skills. What basic skills? Lin Yu asked in confusion. Just a small matter. Lin Yu maintained eye contact with Li Xuanla, stating confidently, previously, I thought Li Chun could fight me. Now I think you might be able to as well. But I believe no one can fight me. Li Xuanla spoke without blush or trepidation. You? Lin Yu looked at Li Xuanla in astonishment, completely unexpected that Li Xuanla was so conceited. He didn't show any sign of humility. I'm just stating a fact. Li Xuanla shrugged casually. Lin Yu narrowed his eyes, seriously observing Li Xuanla, as if judging whether his words were true or false. After a moment of contemplation, Lin Yu spoke with an air of challenge. When shall we have a match? Anytime you want. Li Xuanla replied, shoving his hands into his pockets and striding away with a nonchalant manner. He completely disregarded Lin Yu's words, leaving Lin Yu stunned, watching his retreating figure with uncertainty. Lin Yu propped his chin with his right hand, muttering to himself, does this guy really have such strength? He then shook his head and walked toward the dean's office. He felt that he must have a duel with Li Xuanla. Li Xuanla looked at the sparse figures in the corridor, realizing they had all gone to eat. When he returned to the classroom, only a few scattered people remained. He immediately called Zhao Hao. Ritian, where are you? I jumped over the wall out of the academy. Zhao Hao replied weakly. It's dinner time. You jumped over the wall. What for? To sell equipment. These dozens of pieces of equipment can sell for a lot of money. Li Xuanla pouted, feeling quite speechless. Does this guy not know to wait until after school to sell? Then remember to bring me some food. Oh, I don't want to eat in the cafeteria. Big brother, what do you want to eat? Roasted chicken, roasted duck, anything meaty will do. Big brother, wait for me to sell the equipment, and he'll bring it to you. All right, be quick. I'm hungry. Li Xuanla ended the call. Suddenly, an unfamiliar number called. He looked at the phone in confusion. It couldn't be a telemarketing call, could it? He hesitated for a second and hung up. The phone rang again. He thought it shouldn't be a telemarketing call since they usually only call once, so he answered. As soon as he answered, a crisp and pleasant voice came through. Hey Li Xuanla, why did you hang up on me? It's me, Xia Bingxue. Xia Bingxue. How did you get my number? I got it from Zhao Hao. Are you in class? Yes, what's up? Then just stay in class, we'll come find you. My. Li Xuanla was about to ask what was the matter when the call was abruptly ended. In just a few minutes, Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue stood at the classroom door. Tan Huan spoke, Li Xuanla, come out for a moment. Li Xuanla heard the voice and immediately looked towards the classroom door. It was actually Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue. Meanwhile, the few students left in the classroom all looked towards the door, murmuring, wow, I can't be mistaken, isn't that the school bell? Xia Bingxue at the door. Huh, here to find Li Xuanla. Does he deserve it? Although Li Xuanla is indeed a bit handsome, I still don't agree. Li Xuanla, however, was unfazed, walking to the door and casually asking, yo, what's the matter? Xia Bingxue stared at him seriously. I owe you 2,000 bucks, do you want it? Li Xuanla immediately replied, of course I want it. Who would refuse money? Xia Bingxue took out her phone to show her contact card. WeChat transfer, add me. Li Xuanla didn't think much and directly took out his phone to scan the code. This scene, however, was captured by a classmate with strong paparazzi potential, and it exploded in the group like a bomb. Li Xuanla was unaware. He looked at the 2,000 Xia coins in his account and smiled slightly. For 3 years, he had maintained his livelihood solely by his exceptional skills in deception. Zhao Hao didn't know how many meals he had mooched off him. He was finally about to turn his fortunes around. Just as he envisioned a bright future, Tan Huan suddenly called out to Li Xuanla. Hey, there's one more thing. There's an outdoor trial 3 days later. How about we form a team? No way. Li Xuanla firmly rejected. Why not? Tan Huan asked in confusion. Li Xuanla replied blandly. It's simple. Teaming up will split the experience. Then pay me. Before Li Xuanla could speak, Tan Huan opened her mouth again. Well, pay, just take us, thank you. Without waiting for Li Xuanla to respond, Tan Huan pulled Xia Bingxue and turned to leave. This job is very challenging, it requires more money. Li Xuanla responded loudly, but he noticed the 2 girls walking away and wondered if they heard him. What the heck? They just say it and leave. There's no sincerity at all, what a joke. Li Xuanla pouted and returned to his seat. Just as he sat down, a few classmates approached him. Big shot, how did you get involved with the school beauty? You even added each other on WeChat. With that kind of attitude, you're probably playing with fire, bro. Li Xuanla waved his hand. I just sold her a piece of equipment and made 2,000 from it, that's all. The others were even more astonished. What? You actually made money from her? Others are usually just trying to give her gifts. Exactly, you. No saving you. Well, since you've offended the school beauty, that means I have one less competitor. Dadon, look at your face covered in acne with so many boys in school. Losing one makes your chances really low. Right, or else just put all your attribute points into beauty. How can that be? Am a knight putting points into beauty? Am I going to tank monsters with my looks? Can't looks tank monsters? Look at Li Xuanle, he relies on his looks. Li Xuanle was displeased upon hearing this. Get lost, keep mocking me, and he'll beat you all up. Upon hearing this, the group quickly dispersed. They weren't afraid of Li Xuanle, but it seemed that handsome people had a certain charm when they spoke. Li Xuanle took out his phone and started browsing the news. The Academy's WeChat group exploded again. What? Lin Yu from Class 1 has actually solo cleared the Super Ghost Dungeon. Isn't this news more explosive than Xia Bingshu's team clearing the Super Ghost Dungeon? What kind of explosive news is this? Just now the school beauty Xia Bingshu actually took the initiative to find Li Xuanle from Class 2 and added him on WeChat. That's too heartbreaking. What? No way. Do you have pictures? Of course there are pictures. Look. Oh, my goddess, how could this happen? Li Xuanle, who is that scoundrel? I Wang Teng want to have a word with him. Wang Teng, just forget it, you can't beat him, I'm telling you. TCH, how could the Wang family have a coward like you? I'm going to find him right now. What the heck? Is there a huge scoop? I want to see. Li Xuanle found this message quite ridiculous. Sitting in the classroom, trouble comes from WeChat. Li Xuanle looked at the few gossiping boys and girls in the class. Who the hell is sending out random photos? Everyone fell silent, stammering. Li Xuanle wasn't afraid, but he dreaded the hassle. One today, another tomorrow, it never ends. At that moment, a voice suddenly echoed in his mind. Ding. You have triggered a system task, please check. He immediately checked the system task. 1. Take the initiative and say in the group, anyone who wants to trouble me come to the competitive dungeon in completion. Reward a pair of level 10 3-star cloud treading shoes. 2. Respond to changes with no change, wait for people to come to you, then slap them in the face. Completion. Reward beauty attribute 2. 3-star cloud treading shoes. They look like they can run really fast. And it seems it's also time to establish some authority. Since he's invincible now, what is there to be afraid of? He chose option 1 and immediately posted in the group, anyone who wants to trouble me come to the competitive dungeon, I'm waiting for you. As soon as these words were spoken, it was like a bomb exploded in the group. What? Is Li Xuanle really this stubborn? Wow, I didn't know Li Xuanle before, he sounds so manly. Can someone tell me who Li Xuanle is? What a formidable... He's a handsome guy, but he's a priest class, haha. What? A healer class dares to say such things. What is he thinking? I thought only Lin Yu or Li Chun had the guts to talk like that. So what if he's handsome? Can it fill your stomach? Xia Bingshu suddenly spoke up in the group. I think you all better not provoke him. Her words were like adding fuel to the fire. What, the school beauty is personally speaking up for him? What does that mean? Does she look down on us thinking we can't beat? No way, I must prove myself. I want the school beauty to know that strength is the most important thing in this world. Let's go, damn it, let's crush Li Xuanle hard in the competitive dungeon. Exactly, let him know what cruelty is. Li Xuanle remained relaxed, browsing the messages in the group as he made his way to the competitive dungeon. The competitive dungeon is located in the lobby of the first floor of the dungeon building. Unlike monster dungeons, the competitive dungeon is a long-term open dungeon freely accessible. When students have grievances with each other, they choose to resolve them in the competitive dungeon. They can kill each other, but it isn't true death. Additionally, students refine their combat skills almost exclusively in the competitive dungeon. Thus, the competitive dungeon is also an important way for students to improve their strength, allowing them to use skills without restraint within. Soon, Li Xuanle swiftly entered the competitive dungeon. Inside, the space was vast, and at that moment, there were still quite a few people engaged in combat training. He casually sat on the edge of the dungeon steps, legs crossed, quietly waiting for someone to come looking for trouble. He even felt a tiny bit of anticipation. He had now reached level 8. He could poison 80 targets simultaneously within an 80-meter range. Moreover, his equipment had changed with his physique attribute bonus rising to 4,146. That means his total physique is 87. It may not seem very abnormal, but no pain, no gain. Tan Huan was at level 7, an assassin with only 32 in physique, even with equipment bonuses. Because she cannot put all her points into physique, she needs to balance agility as well. Otherwise, her attack power would be completely insufficient. A mage like Xia Bingshu must also balance intelligence, or else her skill damage wouldn't be high enough. While it is possible to embed attribute gems in equipment to enhance certain attributes, the number of attribute gems that can be embedded is limited. Generally, 1-star equipment can only embed 1 attribute gem. 2-star equipment can embed 2 gems, and 3-star equipment can embed 3 gems. Theoretically, 10-star equipment can embed 10 attribute gems. Attribute gems are expensive, even more so than equipment, and only a very few wealthy individuals are willing to waste them. 1-star attribute gems generally add 5 points, 2 stars add 10 points, and 10 stars add 50 points regardless of the attribute except for virtue, which has no attribute gems. Gems like equipment become more expensive with more stars. Attribute gems can only be dropped by real wild monsters, not dungeon monsters. Moreover, attribute gems are linked to the monster's star level. For example, a 2-star monster can only drop attribute gems below 2 stars. After Li Xuanle cleared the entire Super Ghost dungeon, he didn't drop a single attribute gem. The highest he got was a 2-star physique attribute gem as a system task reward 10. At this moment, someone suddenly shouted in the arena dungeon, "Li Xuanle, where are you scoundrel?" Li Xuanle propped his leg up, watching the arrogant and robust boy in the distance, ignoring him. Rude. He considered himself an elegant person. How could one speak to such a person? It was simply beneath his dignity. He calmly took out his phone and began scrolling through the news. The boy shouted loudly again, "Students, please leave. Something unpleasant is about to happen here. Give me face." As soon as the words fell, Li Xuanle instantly understood that this guy was Wang Tung, the one from the group chat, flanked by more than 10 well-equipped followers. Others began to discuss Wang Tung. Is he that arrogant, rich, second generation? Yes, he can be considered a better not provoke him. Let's go. Let's keep our distance from him. The students in the arena gradually left. Wang Tung did not forget to shout, "From now on, this arena can only have Li Xuanle and those who will beat him. How dare you flirt with my goddess? You really have a death wish." At that moment, more and more students were pouring in. Clearly, they were all here to beat up Li Xuanle. Looking at the swarm of students, Li Zunel's face showed a hint of shock. There must be at least 100 of them, right? Moreover, more people were continuously entering. Is this school Bowtie's charisma really this strong? Oh, did I just poke a hornet's nest? This is going to get bloody. At this moment, not far from him, a student was training diligently, completely ignoring. Wang Tung scanned the entire arena and spotted Li Xuanle and the boy. He first called out to the boy, "Are you?" "No." "Then are you here to beat Li Xuanle?" "Not going to." "Then what are you doing here?" "Training." "What do you mean? Are you not giving me face?" "No." "Oh, so brave, huh?" "Just okay. Brothers, carry him out with sharp blades." Wang Tung looked at the boy angrily and spoke to his followers. Unexpectedly, the boy snorted coldly, "You think you guys are a match for me?" The boy's aura suddenly intensified and he appeared like a drawn sword in the arena, shining like a star. Li Xuanle was stunned. This guy seems to have some skills. Wang Tung also became interested. "Oh, a master. What's your name?" "Tang Xiaosan." "Oh, Tang Xiaosan, I've never heard of you." "Brothers, carry him away." Wang Tung thought for a moment, having no recollection, and spoke without hesitation. 7 or 8 boys rushed out from Wang Tung's side, armed with knives and clubs, charging toward Tang Xiaosan. "You dare!" Tang Xiaosan shouted loudly, his voice booming like thunder, as if an extraordinary expert had emerged. The 7 or 8 who charged hesitated for a moment, glancing at each other. Could he be an unparalleled expert? Wang Tung was not swayed. "What are you waiting for? Get him!" They hesitated no longer and charged forward again. A fierce clash of weapons ensued. The next second, an unexpected scene unfolded. In a single encounter, Tang Xiaosan was carried away. Li Xuanle was dumbfounded. This was a huge he thought this guy was a formidable character, but it turned out he was all show. Almost got tricked. Good. At this moment, Wang Tung's gaze fell on Li Xuanle, and he asked loudly, "Are you Li Xuanle?" "Yes." "Found the right target. Don't fight me for him later. I want to teach this healer a lesson." Wang Tung glared at Li Xuanle as if he had a grudge. The large screen outside the competitive dungeon reflected everything. Many students were filming the scene with their phones and sending it to the Academy's WeChat group in real time. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan had been closely following the information in the group. "Bingxue, this disaster is all because of you," Tan Huan said gleefully while looking at the photos in the group. Xia Bingxue innocently replied, "I didn't mean to." Tan Huan nodded, "But no one should be able to kill him. Instead, others might end up being killed, right?" "I don't know about that. There are so many people now, probably no less than 200. In the dean's office. Guan Shanyue had evidently seen these messages. Li Xuanle. "Huh. Good. Youth should be reckless. I want to see how capable you are." Class teacher Yan Yu also saw the messages. "What's up with Li Xuanle?" After clearing the dungeon with Xia Bingshue's team, he started acting all arrogant. She immediately asked Guan Shanyue if she should intervene. To her surprise, the reply was to observe the situation. "What's up with the dean? This is clearly a group fight. So many people beating up a healer class. This is simply inappropriate." She wanted to step in, but due to Guan Shanyue's words, she could only watch helplessly. At the competitive dungeon scene, Wang Tung glared fiercely at the relaxed Li Xuanle. "Li Xuanle, aren't you going to come over and die?" Li Xuanle said nothing unnecessary, took out his staff, waved it a few times, and a faint green halo appeared over Wang Tung and the others' heads. Someone in the crowd immediately shouted, "Big brother, you have green on your head. You have green on your head. You have grass on your head." Big brother, what he said is true. You really have green on your head. 3 green halos. No 4, and it keeps increasing like a hat. In just a few seconds, they found themselves being carried out of the arena. Wang Tung was left bewildered outside the competitive dungeon. His expression seemed to say, "Who am I? Where am I? What should I do?" At this moment, batch after batch of students were being carried out of the arena. While that green halo is problematic, this Li Xuanla actually played dirty. Get him. No wonder it fell off. Hurry, archers, take him down first. Charge. Kill. Li Xuanla finally got up and started running. Someone very displeased shouted, if you have the guts, don't run. Are you sick or am I sick? If you kill me, I won't run. Then run slower. I banana you, you bastard. Run slower. What kind of nonsense is that? Don't let me catch you. If I do, you'll end up dying slowly. Li Xuanla's figure was like the wind far ahead of the crowd. He dashed through the throngs unmatched. Everyone had 2 or 3 or more green halos above their heads. How can a priest run so fast? Exactly how did he allocate his attribute points? Could it all be in strength? The archers can't hit him and the magic can't reach him. Damn, this guy is, I'm seriously impressed. Within a minute, everyone was carried out of the competitive dungeon. In the vast arena, only Li Xuanla remained. He sat quietly on the edge of the arena's steps, casually crossing his legs and appearing at ease. Everyone who had been carried out of the arena was in a daze. What the hell? How did I die and leave the competitive dungeon? Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. I don't believe it. No more talking this time, let's go straight for the kill. Right, that aura is problematic, it's draining health quickly. I noticed that too, get nearly drains completely in 1 minute. Wang Teng led the group back into the competitive dungeon. Li Xuanla, how dare you play dirty? Li Xuanla responded calmly. What dirty play, eh? As long as I can take you down, that's good enough. Big brother, no time for talk, charge. Wang Teng became alert in an instant. Right, let's charge directly. A massive crowd rushed towards Li Xuanla. Li Xuanla activated his sprint mode again, running while releasing poison. Another minute passed. Everyone was once again carried out of the competitive dungeon, and they hadn't even touched a hair on Li Xuanla. His solitary figure stood out prominently in the arena. Watching this scene, Guan Shangyue finally understood where Li Zunel's confidence in claiming invincibility came from. He had seen how Li Xuanla attacked, and the mechanism by which his poison drained health, which could even stack. This was something he hadn't clarified before. This skill was truly monstrous. Li Xuanla currently had the ability to kill anyone, including Guan Shangyue. His only weakness was that once cornered, it would be over. Guan Shangyue pondered. For ordinary people, there's only the option to change jobs, but very few who are favored by the heavens awaken their talents. He suspected that Li Xuanla's poison wasn't a skill, but rather his innate talent. Meanwhile, Yang Yu, who was always attentive to information, was also astonished. At first, she thought she was imagining things, but after the second occurrence, all doubt was dispelled. What on earth was that light green aura? How could it cause people to perish in such a short time? She could not comprehend this. It's worth noting that in the competitive dungeon, aside from not experiencing real death, everything else is identical to reality. This meant that Li Xuanla could kill people in the real world like this. Could it be that Ding Guan already knew Li Zunel? Was that why he said to wait and see? Then the truth about Xia Bingshu's team clearing the Ultra Demon dungeon might not be what they thought. Everyone believed Li Xuanla was riding on someone else's coattails, but now it seemed more likely that they were the ones clinging to Li Xuanla. Xia Bingshu and Tan Huan watched the live updates in the group chat, completely unsurprised. Tan Huan spoke with an air of expectation. Sure enough, he's incredibly strong, 200 people can't do anything to him. So overpowered, if his poison is used to kill ultra-powerful BOSSES, it would be a divine skill. Xia Bingshu analyzed carefully. Tan Huan seemed to understand. No wonder you were interested in teaming up with Li Xuanla. You were after that aspect of him. I thought you were interested in his looks. Of course. Not. Xia Bingshu said, her face slightly flushed as she shook her head. In the academy WeChat group, chaos erupted. Oh my god, this healer is truly poisonous. He sent over 200 people packing in 1 minute. And he did it twice in a row. Now who would dare to provoke him? Remember, never mess with Li Xuanla in the future. Right, better to provoke Li Chun and Lin Yu than this guy. Oh, if he puts a green ring on you, it's like washing you clean. At this moment, in the arena, Li Xuanla calmly shouted. Whoever is still unconvinced, come on in. Of those who have died twice, don't bother. Outside the dungeon, no one moved. Silence reigned, even a pin drop could be heard. Even Wang Teng, who had been very loud, fell silent. It was simple for the opponent to kill him, and it was unwise to provoke them further. He was audacious, but he wasn't reckless. He knew who could be provoked, and who could not. The reason he had been so bold before was simply because he hadn't realized how absurd the opponent was. Seeing that no one was entering the dungeon for a long time, Li Xuanla said, if there's not a single capable fighter, then let's call it a day. Just when everyone thought this matter had reached a conclusion, a sudden commotion arose in the crowd as a figure swiftly darted through. Move aside. Everyone clear the way. A handsome and composed young man rushed into the competitive dungeon. Wait, I want to give it a try. Once he steadied himself, the crowd finally saw his face. It's Lin Yu, the one who soloed the Ultra Demon dungeon. My goodness, are we going to see these two fierce competitors face off today? Wow, I'm shocked. I'm also astonished. Fortunately, I didn't climb over the wall today. Stop speaking such harsh. Li Xuanle was clearly surprised to see Lin Yu entering the dungeon. Oh, are you here to take me down because of the school? No, I just genuinely want to defeat you. Lin Yu spoke with unwavering confidence. Then let's begin. Li Xuanle smiled at Lin Yu. You think I'm foolish? I won't get close to you. I've observed that your casting range is less than 100 meters. As long as I stay outside that range, you can't poison me. Lin Yu spoke with utmost certainty. Li Xuanle was secretly amazed for 2 seconds. To be fair, this guy has some skills. His observation is quite sharp. He was only level 8, and his casting range was currently only 80 meters. But it didn't matter, as his level increased, that range would gradually extend. So how are you going to challenge me? Summon your beast. Exactly. Lin Yu nodded, then made a gesture with his hands, and softly muttered, Come forth, sky-devouring python. As soon as he finished speaking, a massive void appeared where he gestured, and a colorful giant python slithered out. The giant python was enormous, 30 meters long. Its body is hard as steel with shimmering scales like armor. Its body was colorful, making it look dazzling and unique. At that moment, outside the dungeon, everyone was stunned, discussing in disbelief. What on earth is this monstrous creature? I have no idea. It looks utterly ridiculous. This giant python could probably sweep us all away, right? Each one more abnormal than the last. It's simply unbearable. I just wonder if Sword Saint Li Chun has the strength to fight it. I bet Sword Saint Li Chun isn't that simple either. After all, that's a hidden profession with extremely strong attack power. At that moment, in the dean's office, Guan Shangyue looked at the giant python, clicking his tongue in astonishment. Sky-devouring python. Indeed a fierce beast. Its ultimate form is no less than 8 stars. Looking at its level, it seemed to be on par with Lin Yu, just around level 11 or 12. If it continues to level up, it could become extremely terrifying. He felt a chill run down his spine, rubbing his hands together in excitement. This fierce beast, if it grows to a certain point, could easily slaughter the vast majority of monsters. In the arena, Li Xuanle was equally shocked. Wow, you managed to summon this guy? No wonder you can clear the dungeon so easily. Of course, after all, you're not easy to deal with either. Lin Yu stared steadily at Li Xuanle. Li Xuanle remained unflustered. Then let's get started. What are we? At this moment, the students outside the competition dungeon began to stir. Who do you think is more impressive? I think the devouring python is more formidable. Right, I think so too. After all, Lin Yu solo cleared the Super Ghost dungeon, becoming the first person in history to achieve a solo victory among students. Moreover, that devouring python is probably very fast. Li Xuanle might not be able to outrun it, right? How about we place a bet? What do you say? Meanwhile, Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan were observing the arena through their phones and discussing. Huan, which one do you think is stronger? I think it depends on who runs faster, Li Xuanle or that giant python. The faster one wins. True, we've seen Li Zunel's kite technique before. Bingxue, how about we make a bet too? Let's bet a month's worth of meals. If you win, I treat you for a month, and if I win, you treat me for a month. What do you think? Sure. Xia Bingxue replied without hesitation. Tan Huan pondered for a moment. Then I'll bet on Li Xuanle to win. All right, then I'll bet on Lin Yu. The odds seem similar. Xia Bingxue chuckled. In the arena, both sides moved. Li Xuanle waved his hand and cast a spell. Toxic milk is toxic on the devouring python. A faint green halo appeared above the devouring python's head. Lin Yu then controlled the devouring python to charge towards Li Xuanle at an incredible speed. He believed that the devouring python only needed to touch Li Xuanle to ensure his death. After all, Li Xuanle was merely a healer. Moreover, there was another crucial reason he dared to challenge him. That is, the devouring python had an astonishing healing skill that could restore 1 of its health per second. This skill could last for 50 seconds, and while it couldn't stack, its cooldown was only 10 seconds. This was the devouring python's greatest trump card. As long as he controlled the devouring python and kept releasing this healing skill, victory was assured. This was also a key reason he didn't take Li Qin too seriously. Therefore, he was quite eager to test Li Zunel's abilities. Li Xuanle ran agilely, as swift as the wind. However, the devouring python's speed was not any slower, even slightly faster. But to catch up would take some time. Primarily, the devouring python had not fully matured yet and could only be considered a juvenile, otherwise its speed would far surpass that of Li Xuanle. Lin Yu looked at the running Li Xuanle and shouted loudly, Li Xuanle, you may not know this, but my devouring python has an incredible healing ability. Your poison might not work. Li Xuanle squinted, slightly grinning. Incredible healing ability. Then he'll just have to apply a couple more death summoning spells. As he spoke, he ran while waving his staff. The green halos over the devouring python's head gradually increased. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The devouring python's health quickly plummeted. Lin Yu, watching from the side, turned pale. Devouring python used the devouring recovery. The devouring python was engulfed in a mysterious energy, seemingly recovering continuously. However, it was of no use. The devouring python's health continued to drop rapidly, and within seconds, it was nearly empty. Then it transformed into a white light and vanished into the void. The entire battle lasted less than 30 seconds. Li Xuanle had placed as many as 14 or 15 green halos on the devouring python. Lin Yu stared blankly at Li Xuanle. How is this possible? How could your poison be so potent? My poison is indeed a bit potent. Want to try again? No, you've won. Lin Yu stared at Li Xuanle in a daze, not looking away for at least 10 seconds. Don't get too cocky. Ooh, I will definitely win against you. After saying that, he distractedly walked out of the arena. Countless people made way for him. Although he had lost, no one dared to look down on him. Everyone knew that the devouring python was only a juvenile, who once it matured, no one would dare to underestimate it. Outside the arena, some were crying and others were laughing. Damn, I bet half a month's meal money, and it's all gone. Fortunately, I only bet a week's worth of meal money. Oh, I can manage with some savings. I only wagered a day's meal money, but ended up winning a month's worth. Haha. Me too. I bet on the less likely Li Xuanle with a week's worth of meal money, and it turned out to be a big win. Ha ha ha. In the dean's office, Guan Shangyue seemed utterly unsurprised. He held his teacup, gently blew on it, then took a sip. I knew it, Li Xuanle would definitely win. The poison can stack, and there's fundamentally no way to counter it. Even if the devouring python matures, it cannot contend with Li Xuanle unless other means are employed. On the other side, Xia Bingxue shrugged. 1 month is just 1 month. Ooh, I don't mind. Tan Huan smiled beside her. Bingxue, sorry, but you'll be treating me next month, hee. You just got lucky. Xia Bingxue muttered to herself. I should have bet on Li Xuanle to win, but Tan Huan got ahead of me. Li Xuanle swaggered out of the arena. He ran his fingers through his black bangs and smiled as he blew them. His hairstyle immediately looked much neater. The spectators made way for him, astonished by his extraordinary poison. First toxic healer of Fengshu Academy. This was the conclusion everyone had reached, and it was a title universally acknowledged. Of course, Li Xuanle was unaware that he had been bestowed the title of the first toxic healer. As Li Xuanle walked towards the classroom, he analyzed his skill. Toxic milk is toxic. If he placed 1 halo on a target, there was still a chance for recovery, because they could use bleeding or recovery potions or receive healing from a priest. This way they could recover some health. However, if he placed 2 halos, they would likely die, who could recover double their health within 50 seconds. Unless there were several priests continuously using skills to heal, but currently priests were scarce. Almost no one chose to play a priest. And using potions was definitely difficult. Even if Lin Yu's devouring python had an incredible healing skill, if multiple layers of poison were stacked, even a deity couldn't save them. However, with a single layer of poison, it would probably be difficult to kill, at least it would take longer. Be cautious. Li Xuanle kept reminding himself not to fumble and accidentally place 2 poison halos on someone. He also clearly defined his future tactics. If it were a target for a guaranteed kill, the more poison halos the better. If it were a lesson target, placing 1 poison halo and healing a bit would suffice to threaten them. While Li Xuanle was deep in thought, he suddenly felt someone grab his hand. Turning around, he saw Zhao Hao. Hey, you're back. Zhao Hao nodded, beaming. Guess how much I sold for? 20,000. 30,000. 40,000. I sold for 36,000. Zhao Hao exclaimed, dancing with excitement. He held 2 lotus leaf-wrapped roasted chickens in his hands. Bro, let's eat chicken together. You take 1, I take 1. Speak of chicken or not. Civility for you, me and him. Big brother, that actually rhymes. Have you ever been a rapper? What do you mean been a rapper? You mean played rap, right? Isn't that the same thing? A rapper is a person who raps. Rap is the music. So have you ever been a rapper yourself? What nonsense. Of course not. Li Xuanle snatched the beggar's chicken. Move it, classroom. Classroom. As he walked, he tore open the wrapping. A mouth-watering aroma drifted out. He couldn't help swallowing. Damn it. He hadn't had this in ages. They had lived so frugally before. Finally, their fortunes were turning. How much did it cost? Li Xuanle inhaled the scent deeply. 88 for 1. Holy. Kind of pricey, isn't it? Pricey, my foot. This is actually cheap now? Food is scarce. Chickens have to be sourced from the neighboring city. Zhao Hao said. Listen to the boss brag. He swears even sows can fly. Li Xuanle gave him a sidelong glance. He then checked the item in his character's inventory. Tingyun shoes. Tingyun shoes 3-star. Level requirement 10. Stamina 21. Strength 5. Intelligence 5. Charm 3. Note a rare pair of shoes that grants wind-like speed. Highly valuable, and they gleam enchantingly. He thought to himself, the stamina bonus is impressively high, but unfortunately, he couldn't equip them yet. They required level 10. He planned to grind the Chao Gui dungeons a few more times tomorrow to raise his level, then finally wear the shoes. Before the outdoor trial, they could only farm dungeons. And among the school's dungeons, only the Chao Gui dungeon held true value. Lower-level dungeons had weak monsters and awarded little experience. Zhao Hao, walking behind Li Xuanle, freed a hand and pulled out his phone. Within seconds, he cried out, Bro, how many people did you challenge? You even challenged Lin Yu. Li Xuanle looked calm and replied casually, I didn't challenge them. They tried to challenge me. You actually knocked them all down. Of course. Big brother, you're awesome. Zhao Hao walked along, thumbing his nose up at Li Xuanla in anyone who dares anger me will pay, Li Xuanla said with absolute conviction. Zhao Hao hesitated a moment and reluctant spoke up. Actually, when we sold the equipment, it wasn't 36,000, but 38,000. Li Xuanla stared at him in disbelief. What on earth was this guy up to? Tell me, what were you thinking? Though Li Xuanla tried not to make a fuss, he wanted to know Zhao Hao's reasoning. Listen, don't blame me. Just now after I sold the gear, I saw an orphan who looked so pitiful, so I gave him 2,000. Li Xuanla was utterly astonished. What was this? Despite being poor himself, he was handing out money to others. Still, wasn't that something he should have discussed with him first? Otherwise, wouldn't he start making unilateral decisions about everything in the future? Don't act on such things on your own from now on. Consult me first. Li Zunel's voice was low and steady. All right, big brother, I absolutely won't do it again. Zhao Hao, seeing that Li Xuanla wasn't truly angry, vowed earnestly. Li Xuanla looked at him with lingering doubt, but said nothing. Really, big brother? Zhao Hao insisted once more. He'll trust you this once. Soon they arrived at the classroom and devoured the roast chicken ravenously. Li Xuanla saw a message in the class group from homeroom teacher Yang Yu. Considering the outdoor trial in 3 days, students may freely enter and leave the academy for the next 3 days. Prepare equipment, skills, food, and restorative potions. Try to prepare about half a month's worth of supplies. After the outdoor trial, some of you may be selected to participate in the grand contest of the 3 academies. Li Zunel's eyes gleamed. Let's go. Come on, let's go hunt for gear. Big brother, don't we already have almost all our equipment? Zhao Hao asked, puzzled. I told you to study hard, and you didn't listen. What's the matter? Zhao Hao was confused. Equipment can be upgraded and its star rank increased. You just need upgrade gems and stirrup gems. You don't mean? You're going to upgrade the gear, then raise its star rank, then socket attribute gems. Of course. There's no rush. Let's just take a look. Just look. That sounds fine. Zhao Hao nodded. At that moment in the dungeon hall, Tang Wu rubbed his eyes and regarded the determined Lin Yu. What? You still want to solo the Chao Gui dungeon? Yes. As the challenger's level rises, the monsters inside the dungeon grow much stronger. You know that, right? I understand. Tang Wu frowned and curious asked, is it because you were defeated by Li Xuanla in the competitive dungeon and you can't let it go? That's one reason. He made me realize there are always stronger people beyond our sight. A rare maturity touched Lin Ye's youthful face. A young man who knows shame and then finds courage. That spirit is commendable, Tang Wu said, genuinely impressed as he watched Lin Ye's stubborn resolve. Li Xuanla may have beaten me, but that doesn't mean he could beat Li Chan. Lin Yu murmured softly. Besides, there are the outdoor trials ahead, the grand contest of the 3 academies, and even the Chaos Hen Shuefu assessment. Each a formidable challenge. He felt his chest fill with ambition. I will overcome every obstacle and enter Chaos Hen Shuefu. Tang Wu, stirred by the young man's fervor, felt his own spirit roused. He nodded heavily and declared loudly, excellent. You have nearly ignited my own lofty ambitions. Young man, I believe in you. Go for it. He rose and pressed the button for the Chao Gui dungeon with force. In the next moment, a cobalt blue vortex, Lin Yu strode forward with chest out, as if the world were his. His confidence stemmed from his strength talent. He possessed the ancient contract technique. The ancient contract technique allows one to bind ancient ferocious beasts. If the contract succeeds, they can be summoned. Ordinary summoners possess only a common beast contract skill and can bind only ordinary monsters. However, this ancient contract technique offers only 1 contract attempt per month. Success is uncertain. Failure is possible. Yet over time, he might bind multiple ferocious beasts. Once the number of contracted beasts increases, few would stand a chance against him. This was his greatest reliance and his secret, and so he brimmed with hope for the future. In the days to come, there will surely be a place for me, Lin Yu. Outside the Fengshu Academy, Li Xuanla put his arm around Zhao Hao's shoulder. Hey, I don't think I've ever seen you use a skill before. Currently, there's only one. What is it? Swordsman Charge. It's a 3-meter dash that deals a certain amount of damage to the target. 3 meters. Seems not that impressive. It's not, but other skills require spending money to buy skill books. Don't waste your money, I'll buy some good equipment to enhance your physique instead, Li Xuanla advised while walking. Why? I'm planning to slay enemies in the future. Don't you have any self-awareness? You a coward wanting to slay enemies. Li Xuanla replied without any patience. Where am I being a coward? Come on, after you get some equipment, you won't even dare to face wild monsters. You're even more cowardly than I am. That's not true. Oh, I just don't have the opportunity to use it. Stop saying useless things. With your personality, you're only suited to run away. Don't think about being a slayer. That's nothing but a dream for you. A mere fantasy. Li Xuanla said casually. But flashy skills look so cool. Zhao Hao said, feeling a bit unhappy. As someone who dreams of being a swordsman, he fantasizes every day about using those spectacular skills to slay enemies. Yet now Li Xuanla has completely negated his identity as a swordsman. Who could be happy about that? Suddenly Li Xuanle seemed to remember something. Swordsman, I remember, there is a technique called sword control. Zhao Hao was extremely excited upon hearing this. Yes, sword control. So cool. However, the skill book for sword control is very hard to obtain. It seems to be 6 stars rare and hard to find. Don't worry, you'll get you one later, and you'll be able to run away even better. Zhao Hao's forehead broke out in a black line. Others learn sword control to slay enemies. But for him, learning sword control is just to escape. But he didn't think too much about it. Currently, there are very few job changers who know sword control in the entire Wulong City. And money can't buy it. Once it appears, it will definitely be snatched up. Skills above 5 or 6 stars have to be obtained by killing monsters in the wild and relying on luck. Job changers learn skills by using skill books. Once used, the skill book disappears, and the job changer gains. There's no need for painstaking research. As long as you have a skill book, using it will allow you to learn the skill. Therefore, skill books are incredibly precious and in high demand. Thus, the value of skill books has skyrocketed. However, there is a very special case, hidden professions. Job changers in hidden professions will have their skills greatly enhanced, and those lucky enough might automatically learn some particularly advanced skills. This is entirely up to fate and luck. Finally, the two arrived at a nearby equipment store outside. The owner is a charming beauty with heavy makeup and immense allure, exuding warmth and enthusiasm. When she saw Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao enter the store, her eyes lit up. Hello, handsome guys, what can I help you with? Li Xuanle felt a bit uncomfortable under the intense gaze of the beautiful owner. Why does she look like she wants to swallow him whole? Isn't he just a little handsome? Is his charm really that great? Li Xuanle's expression was uncertain as he glanced around the store and didn't find any decent equipment, especially equipment that enhances physique. Seeing the two about to leave, the beautiful owner couldn't help but speak up. You're leaving just like that? Yeah. Can't you stay? Stay? Are you going to support me? Li Xuanle teased. I will support you, but do you have the face for it? Hearing this meaningful remark, Li Xuanle quickened his pace and hurriedly left under the beautiful owner's regretful gaze. The beautiful owner's eyes looked like she was gazing at a heartless man. The cat's paw scratched her heart. If someone were a bit softer, they might leave something behind. Bro, that beautiful owner seemed to have a bit of interest in you. Buffed with my looks, many people are interested in me. Then why do you seem to have no fondness for women? Are you impotent? Shut up, you old man, what nonsense are you talking about? Li Xuanle shouted. Little did he know that his crossing over was due to a bowl of longevity noodles cooked by his girlfriend, which had made him wary of women. Zhao Hao quickly fell silent, observing Li Xuanle's expression. Then he forced a smile, just joking. Li Xuanle calmly replied, I have a friend who was poisoned to death by longevity noodles cooked by his girlfriend, so I have to keep my distance from women. The two wandered through several nearby equipment shops, finding no good items. Either they were outrageously expensive or of poor quality. Li Xuanle naturally looked down on them. As for skill books, they were all of low quality. Thus, the two only bought some food and potions before hurrying back to school. As Li Xuanle walked, he pondered. It seems that good equipment and skill books can only be obtained by defeating wild monsters. Most of the items in the shop were leftovers that had been picked through. They were even inferior to the 1-star equipment he was currently wearing. Li Xuanle had a bold idea. He planned to kill high-level fierce beasts in the upcoming outdoor trial to obtain advanced equipment and skill books. There are no monsters he cannot defeat. So he decided to take a direct approach and hunt down a big boss. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. During these 3 days, Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao cleared the Ultra Ghost Dungeon 9 times. No mistake, they cleared it 9 times. Of course, Zhao Hao was merely riding on Li Xuanle's coattails, soaring to level 27. Li Xuanle reached level 28, just a bit lower than Lin Yu. Lin Yu was even more monstrous, reaching level 30. He had cleared the Ultra Ghost Dungeon 11 times. He initially wanted to clear it again, but Director Tang Wu said it was no longer meaningful. In the dungeon, the experience gained from killing monsters was very limited. Moreover, after level 30, the experience required for leveling up became completely different. Each level up requires double the experience of the previous level. Only by defeating real wild monsters can one gain more valuable experience. Not only is the experience richer, but good equipment and gems may also drop. Ever since the Ultra Ghost Dungeon was first cleared, it has been completely uncontrollable, spiraling out of control. It was as if it were a low-level dungeon repeatedly cleared. However, this was only limited to Li Xuanle and Lin Yu. Of course, people speculated that if the Sword Saint Li Chun were to clear the Ultra Ghost Dungeon, he would surely do so effortlessly. For others attempting the challenge, it remained fraught with difficulties hard to overcome. Countless classmates who tried have come to a clear understanding the gap between people is still quite significant. In the early morning on the playground of Fengchu Academy, hundreds or even thousands of people stood on the field. Guan Shangyue stood on the podium holding a microphone. He'll say a few words briefly. What is it? It's about the beginning of outdoor leveling lasting for half a month. So everyone needs to be extra cautious. The outdoor environment is much more complex than that of dungeons. All students must pay attention to their safety. In the wild you may encounter monsters as well as students from other academies and even adventurers. People can be treacherous, so never turn your back on someone you don't trust, blah blah blah. Li Xuanla stood in the crowd feeling bored, even yawning, until he heard that one longed-for phrase, "Students, let's set off." Half an hour later the group passed through the teleportation hall and arrived in a forest shrouded in gray fog. The sky was as gray as if it had been weeping. Since the arrival of the eerie forest, the sky over Blue Star has remained perpetually overcast, particularly in the wild, where visibility is extremely low. This gray fog forest, due to its strong concealment and difficulty in detection, has been designated as the entrance to the Wild Trials backyard. Not only Fengshu Academy, but also Tunglong Academy and Heibai Academy have set up teleportation arrays within this gray fog forest, albeit in different locations. Beyond this forest, there are numerous unknown powerful monsters. Of course, the strong monsters within the forest have long been cleared out by formidable academy teachers, making it relatively safe. This teleportation array spans a radius of 1 kilometer guarded by 20 teachers. It serves as both a campsite and a relatively safe zone. Li Xuanla is well aware of the rules. Once in the gray fog forest, teams can form freely and trials can be conducted freely. They must return here within half a month. Without hesitation, he grabbed Zhao Hao and set off. "It's time for us to take off. Let's go deal with some formidable monsters." His tone was filled with excitement, as if he were a wild horse that had broken free, exuding an untamed aura, his face glowing with fervor. In this wilderness, he could fully unleash himself and engage in a genuine battle. He did not believe there was any monster capable of withstanding his infinitely stacking Hell's Judgment technique. He was currently at level 28, with all attributes invested in body. His body had reached 141, and with the equipment's bonus of 66, the total had reached 207. Zhao Hao was not far behind with his body, reaching 198. Both of their physical abilities and speeds were unparalleled. Moreover, his current casting range for Toxic Milk is 280 meters, allowing him to cast Toxic Milk on 280 targets simultaneously. This is truly a life and death technique. It feels as though levels, equipment, gems, and money are all waiting for him. "All right, big brother." Without a second thought, Zhao Hao followed Li Xuanla and slipped away. All he needed to do was cling to this big leg, everything else was irrelevant. After 9 runs through the Super Ghost Dungeon, they made quite a bit of money. Though not as much as the first time, it still allowed Zhao Hao to taste some sweetness. Now each of them had around 60 to 70,000 xia coins. However, this 60 to 70,000 was far from enough. A higher grade 3-star equipment costs about 10 to 20,000 or even 30 to 50,000. Li Xuanla currently had 3 requests. First, to level up. Second, to make money. Third, to collect equipment that boosts body. What academy contests? What entrance to the Super Divine Academy? To him, they were not that important. Li Xuanla pulled Zhao Hao, moving at high speed. The two communicated while running. Li Tian later, "I will clear the field. Oh, wherever I go, I will clear it out." "What? Clear the field?" "Yes, clear the field. You need to pay attention to picking up equipment. Remember to pick up good equipment. Don't just grab any junk." "Got it, big brother." As the two rushed forward, 2 figures suddenly appeared ahead, startling Li Xuanla to the point where he almost unleashed 2 Hell's Judgment techniques. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan. "What the hell? What are you doing here? You almost got killed by me." Li Xuanla was somewhat speechless. Zhao Hao looked surprised. School beauty. Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue ignored Zhao Hao and instead looked at Li Xuanla with smiles. They seemed to be quite expectant. Xia Bingxue spoke politely. "We've been waiting for you for a while. Big shot, can we form a team?" Li Xuanla glanced at Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan nonchalantly. "No way." Tan Huan stepped forward with a smile. "You ran off without saying goodbye. What's there to say? We're not relatives." After saying this, Li Xuanla grabbed Zhao Hao and walked away. "Li Xuanla, we greeted you earlier. Can we join you for this wild trial?" Xia Bingxue looked earnest. Zhao Hao, upon hearing this, lost his composure. After all, the school beauty was his goddess. Seeing the school bowtie's expression, he weakly asked Li Xuanla, "Big brother, did you agree to them?" "I didn't agree." Zhao Hao tentatively asked. "Then are we taking them or not?" "Not taking." "Why not? Women can be troublesome sometimes." Li Xuanla said solemnly. "You're the big brother, you have the final say." Zhao Hao stammered. Tan Huan muttered to the side. "Li Xuanla, we have changed all our equipment to boost body. We just want to gain some experience from you, and all the equipment will belong to you. We don't want anything." All equipment boosts body. Li Xuanla was somewhat surprised and also a bit taken aback. This meant that apart from being fast, they had nothing else to offer. Of course, aside from being good looking. But looks are of no use when facing monsters. But that has nothing to do with me. Li Xuanla turned to look at the gray fog in the forest. At this moment, Zhao Hao grabbed Li Zunel's hand and moved to the side. "Big brother, I think maybe we can take them." "Li Tian, you're at it again." "Big brother, just hear me out first." "Speak." Big brother, I think about it this way, if they can run fast, they won't slow us down too much. In this half month, we don't know how many monsters we'll kill or how much equipment we'll gather. I estimate that by then our bags won't be enough. Having 2 more people to help pick up equipment wouldn't be bad, right? When you put it that way, it does make some sense. Li Xuanle looked at Zhao Hao in surprise. At that moment, he felt that Zhao Hao was using his brain. Having 2 more people could at least allow for a few hundred more pieces of equipment to be picked up. Each person's inventory can hold 250 items. The 2 could pick up an additional 500 items, and although some would be their own, they could still collect at least 4. Even if each piece of equipment is valued at 5,000 at the lowest, 10 pieces would amount to 50,000 and 400 pieces would total 2 million. In reality, high-grade equipment is worth far more than 5,000, ranging from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. That's a lot of money, right? Zhao Hao chuckled. Li Xuanle pondered for 2 seconds, then turned to look at Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue. You may not know this, but experience from equipment is like my lifeline. It has to come with compensation. And there are conditions. What are they? Tan Huan asked, somewhat surprised. Xia Bingxue curiously looked at Li Xuanle. You go ahead and say. Well, borrow your bags to help us pick up equipment and gems. As for the money, just ensure it's no less than 200,000. Li Xuanle said calmly. Picking up equipment and gems. 200,000. Money is negotiable. Can we buy equipment from you? Let's see how it goes. At that time, Li Xuanle pondered. If he could acquire hundreds of decent pieces of equipment in the next half month, then a few pieces of equipment would indeed be trivial. Tan Huan gently spoke from the side. All right, that request is indeed not excessive. Xia Bingxue nodded lightly. Sure, that request is fair, I agree. Xia Bingxue initially thought it was an outrageous request, but it turned out to be just picking up equipment. Such a thing is not excessive at all. After all, the character's backpack is empty anyway. Moreover, there was one more thing. Her family, Xia Bingxue, was in the business of dealing in equipment. If she could obtain a large batch of good supplies, she would surely be able to walk proudly within her family. Tan Huan looked at Li Xuanle with curiosity and asked, aren't the 2 of you's character backpacks enough? She didn't quite understand, as their backpacks could already hold 400 to 500 items. Could they really gather that much equipment in half a month? It's worth noting that encountering a powerful boss monster would certainly take others a long time to defeat. However, for Li Xuanle, it seemed that he could finish it in just 2 minutes. Looking at it this way, it indeed seemed. Zhao Hao immediately chimed in. What you might not know is that my elder brother wants to clear the area, which means we will be picking up equipment all the way. Remember, don't pick up trash equipment. Li Xuanle remained silent on the side, not speaking. He suddenly felt that someone was speaking for him, which seemed to give him a bit of prestige. No wonder the big brothers in those movies always have younger brothers to relay messages. It turns out that's the reason. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan raised their eyebrows in surprise after hearing this. Indeed, this guy is quite greedy. Seeing that Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue agreed to his request, Li Xuanle casually said, let's go. Well, first head south to clear the wild monsters in the southern part of the Gray Mist Forest, then proceed to the east, west, and north. You want to clear all the monsters around the Gray Mist Forest. Tan Huan's eyes widened. Of course, while clearing the area, it'd be best to encounter a powerful boss monster that drops some great equipment and gems. Li Xuanle took out a piece of gum and started chewing. He seemed to have no worries at all about the clearing. What was there to worry about? He truly had nothing to worry about. His undying talent had already placed him in an invincible position. With poison that can stack infinitely, no one could outdo him. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan exchanged glances, clearly realizing that Li Xuanle's ambitions were greater than they had imagined. Let's go, we're leaving you all, be careful. Li Xuanle stopped chatting and quickly walked towards the south of the Gray Mist. Let's go, we'll cover the rear. Zhao Hao willingly took on the role of the protector. The 4 of them moved at great speed. However, Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan were obviously slower compared to Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao. After all, their current levels were only around 17 or 18. They could only say that they were already faster than many others. The equipment they wore, all-enhancing body, was specifically found through the power of the family behind Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan. Their body had reached around 150, and some of the equipment even had attributes with body enhancement gems. This was undoubtedly a waste of attribute gems. However, being rich second-generation heirs, they were not short on money and could indeed afford to waste. Despite this, they still couldn't keep up with the speed of Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao. Li Xuanle's body was 207, and Zhao Hao's body was 198. There was quite a significant gap. The group traveled 5 to 6 kilometers. They had not even exited the Gray Mist Forest before they began to encounter monsters frequently. Goblins of over 10-level skeleton monsters, and some twisted tree spirits. However, no monster could last a song's duration. When they finally exited the Gray Mist Forest, Zhao Hao's backpack was already filled with 20 to 30 pieces of equipment and 3 one-star attribute gems. The equipment was all 1-star. They didn't bother picking up any unstarred equipment. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan still complained about the 2 wasting items. Li Xuanle's response was, these pieces of equipment are for those destined to have them. Unknowingly, Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan had both leveled up by 1. They truly hadn't expected to level up just after exiting the Grey Mist Forest. They decided to first add to body and later focus on intelligence and labor, because they also felt that although their speed was already quite fast, they were still a bit of a hindrance. So increasing body would help them keep pace and level up. The 4 of them stood at the edge of the Grey Mist Forest, quietly gazing at the world beyond. He looked at Zhao Hao, then shifted his gaze toward Tan Huan and Xia Bingxue, reminding them, "Next we may encounter tough opponents, so just focus on keeping yourselves safe. Don't worry about saving anyone else, just protect yourselves. If you die, it's really over." "Okay, big brother." Zhao Hao immediately nodded. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan also seriously nodded. Li Xuanle was the first to step out of the misty forest and walked further south. He wore a white priest's robe and held a wooden staff, looking like a harmless young man. He still wore a pair of level 10 3-star, cloud-soaring shoes, sparkling brightly. Zhao Hao the fool was just as expected. He had everything a loser should have. Once out of the forest, the light improved slightly. Li Xuanle led the 3 southward at a steady pace. He chewed gum, as if strolling leisurely. At that moment, Zhao Hao suspiciously spoke up. "Big brother, it seems like there are monsters ahead." Zhao Hao pointed ahead. Not far away in the mist, there seemed to be some dark monsters clustered together. Li Xuanle immediately halted everyone. "You all wait here, I'll go take a look. After all, you're a priest. Shouldn't I go take a look?" Tan Huan felt a bit guilty, but she thought it wasn't quite appropriate for a priest to scout, while she, a rogue, just stood by. "Never mind, keep an eye on your surroundings. The visibility in this mist is very low. There could be monsters lurking. Remember, if you encounter a monster, the best plan is to run." Li Xuanle repeatedly reminded them. "All right, just be careful." Xia Bingxue spoke up. Li Xuanle looked at Xia Bingxue in surprise. Tisk being cared for by the campus belle is quite unexpected. "It's no big deal." Xia Bingxue dismissed it. Zhao Hao, standing nearby, swallowed his envy and immediately spoke. "Big brother, how about I go take a look instead?" "All right, then you go." "Hey, big brother, I was just pretending to be polite." Zhao Hao weakly replied. Li Xuanle shot him a disdainful glance and then slowly approached the dark figure ahead. Finally, he discovered what that monster was, a level 32-star hedgehog. Damn, it's bigger than a pig. He immediately checked the details of the hedgehog monster. Giant hedgehog, 2-star monster, level 30 health, 101.50 morality, 1 intelligence, 30 stamina, 60 charm, 10 strength, 70 attack, 140 defense, 120 skill, 1 long spike. Shot: the giant hedgehog can shoot its quills to attack enemies, causing certain damage. Skill 2, invincible fire wheel. The giant hedgehog curls its body into a ball and rolls towards you quickly, using its quills to pierce you. Skill 3, little quick steps. The giant hedgehog's little quick steps increase its speed. Legend has it that the giant hedgehog is a remnant of ancient creatures said to have once been the guardian beasts of ancient civilizations, possessing powerful magic and attack capabilities, strong, yet sly, careful, and cautious, treading on thin ice. They enjoy flirting and unanimously believe that as long as the shovel is wielded well, no corner can withstand it. Note: be careful. Its spikes can deal high damage. Catchphrase: who isn't a roll-around baby? After seeing the information about the giant hedgehog, Li Xuanle pondered. This guy not only has the invincible fire wheel, but can also shoot long spikes from its body. What a peculiar creature. I wonder how its spikes compare to the needles of Rome Momo in terms of pain. He glanced at the number of hedgehogs, and it seemed there were about 30 or 40. After thinking for a moment, he immediately stepped back and shouted to the few people behind him, "Step back, I'm about to unleash poison." After saying that, he waved his staff and cast the skill Poisonous Milk on dozens of hedgehogs. 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers. The hedgehogs began to panic as soon as they lost health. As if sensing danger, they immediately started moving, looking around for the sinister perpetrator. They quickly spotted Li Xuanle not far away. Some giant hedgehogs began to run quickly on their sharp little feet. It was quite amusing as their legs looked a bit. Li Xuanle guessed that some girls might like these legs. In his view, those slender legs seemed unable to bear the weight of a creature as large as a pig. It gave a feeling that their legs might break at any moment. Meanwhile, some hedgehogs remained still, seemingly gathering power, as if preparing to unleash a big move. In the next second, whoosh, 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 countless long spikes shot out from the hedgehogs, flying towards Li Xuanle like arrows from archers. They even carried the sound of breaking air, dense and overwhelming like a rain of arrows. Upon seeing this, Li Xuanle felt his scalp tingle. How painful would it be if I got hit? My hair. I need to retreat quickly. Thinking of this, he immediately backed away at full speed. At the same time, he had another thought. When these spikes shoot out, don't they hurt themselves? After all, pulling out a hair is quite painful for me. Does it really not hurt when they shoot their spikes? Although he was eager for an answer, the giant hedgehogs rushing towards him left him no time to think. He had to run and kite them. At the same time, he needed to keep poisoning the hedgehogs to quickly end the battle. Meanwhile, Zhao Hao, Xia Bingxue, and Tan Huan, not far behind him, sensed the danger and ran away swiftly. In the blink of an eye, they were gone. Goodness, Li Xuanla couldn't help but exclaim upon seeing this. They really took his advice to heart. His mood was quite complicated. Although he had shouted for them to run at the first sign of danger, their speed of escape almost matched his own. It seems that a life-and-death crisis brings out great potential. Interesting. While he was contemplating, he still had to run. Li Xuanla kite for over 20 seconds. All the giant hedgehogs lay flat. Zhao Hao, come help me loot the gear. Li Xuanla shouted loudly, big brother. Coming. A few seconds later, Zhao Hao, Xia Bingxue, and Tan Huan appeared in Li Zunel's field of vision. Zhao Hao looked at the gear and gemstones that had dropped on the ground not far away and immediately gave a thumbs up. Big brother, impressive. You solved them all in less than a minute. Zhao Hao quickly dashed forward to loot the gear while muttering, there's a 1-star labor attribute gemstone, a 1-star body attribute gemstone. And there's a level 5 equipment upgrade gemstone, as well as a star upgrade gemstone. There are 7 or 8 pieces of equipment, including a 2-star one. Xia Bingxue looked quite surprised when she heard about the upgrade and star upgrade gemstones. She immediately looked at Li Xuanla. Hey, can you sell those upgrade and star upgrade gemstones to me later? I'm not called Hey, I'm called Li Xuanla. Okay. Alright Li Xuanla, I want as many of those gemstones as you have. Sell them to me later, how about that? Xia Bingxue looked quite. Sell them to you? Can you even use them all? Li Xuanla rested his chin on his hand, looking thoughtfully at Xia Bingxue. Tan Huan immediately chimed in, Li Xuanla, you don't understand this, do you? Xia Bingxue's family is in this business. Li Xuanla raised an eyebrow in surprise. So this person's family is in the business, no wonder they're so wealthy and can use gemstones freely. They can afford to be willful. But why should I sell them to her? I should sell to whoever offers the highest price. Or negotiate terms and raise the price as well. Thinking this, he shook his head. Sorry, these things of mine will definitely be sold to the highest bidder later. Tan Huan looked at Li Xuanla in surprise. Li Xuanla, Xia Bingxue's family background is quite profound. I think you should consider this carefully. Profound background. Li Xuanla raised an eyebrow. Tan Huan continued, what do we call this land? The Xia Kingdom. Zhao Hao blurted out without thinking. The Xia Kingdom. Could it be that her surname is Xia? Li Xuanla dismissed it. After speaking, Li Xuanla suddenly realized. You mean that Xia Bingxue's family is somehow connected to the rulers of the Xia Kingdom? Well, you can guess slowly. Tan Huan deliberately kept him guessing without clarifying. Li Xuanla rolled his eyes, raising an eyebrow, and said in a loud voice, as an orphan, I don't care about those things. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. But if they do, I will hunt them down no matter how far. Li Zunel's voice was loud and clear, and despite his young age, he exhibited great presence. Zhao Hao was stunned, staring at Li Xuanla in admiration and giving him a thumbs up. Big brother, you're really something. Li Xuanla lightly waved his hand, pretending to be modest. Who isn't a baby that can roll? Xia Bingxue, seeing that she couldn't intimidate Li Xuanla, spoke softly. How about this? In the future, I'll buy all your equipment at market price, and we can be long-term partners. When we get back, I'll give you a Xia Commerce VIP card. Xia Commerce VIP card. What's that for? Li Xuanla was a bit confused. You can enjoy a 50% discount at all merchants under Xia Commerce. Zhao Hao excitedly gesturing. Wow, that's a great thing. 50% off. Li Xuanla pondered upon hearing this. It's equivalent to the state-owned enterprise background of the Xia Kingdom, with countless business giants involved in catering real estate equipment, clothing, gemstones, jewelry, luxury goods, spanning various industries. If there were such a card, it would be useful for daily needs at any time. Li Xuanla found this rather practical. Beside him, Tan Huan expressed her envy with a hint of melancholy in her voice. Bingxue, you haven't given me a Xia Shang VIP card. I'm not happy. Looking at her expression, she seemed to long for the Xia Shang VIP card. Xia Bingxue felt a bit awkward. Huan, I'll try to apply again next time. I didn't succeed last time, and this card is quite difficult to obtain, and each card must be justified with evidence. Alright, then you can try again next time. Tan Huan nodded repeatedly. Xia Bingxue replied softly. She gently turned her head to look at Li Xuanla. What do you think? Li Xuanla, since we have a long-term cooperation, I will obtain equipment, gemstones, skill books, etc. from you. I can definitely get you a Xia Shang VIP card. Xia Bingxue's eyes were filled with hope. If she could negotiate a long-term supply source, her status within the family would rise significantly. Despite being in a prominent family and a wealthy second generation, she still faced comparisons and pressures. Her cousins and younger cousins were all the type of exceptional individuals. They were the kind of people who were very adept at socializing and had a good standing within the family. However, Xia Bingxue was not very good at this and did not enjoy dealing with such matters. So in comparison, aside from her beauty, she seemed to lack a significant presence within the family. However, she was still willing to make an effort for herself if given the opportunity. Is there a chance I could get one? Zhao Hao asked shamelessly from the side. You probably can't, but if Li Xuanla has a card, can't you just borrow his? Xia Bingxue pondered. Zhao Hao thought for a moment and realized you have a point. What's mine is my big brother's, and what's my big brother's is mine. He turned to Li Xuanla. Big brother, this is okay to agree to. Wouldn't it be great to have half price for buying houses and such? House prices are skyrocketing. Li Xuanle didn't expect Zhao Hao to think of this aspect. He was also considering that if he acquired a lot of equipment without a stable sales channel, it would be a problem. Would he have to ask door to door? That would be too troublesome. So he nodded. I can agree, but the price you pay must be fair, otherwise no deal. That's only natural. Don't worry, I definitely won't treat you unfairly. Xia Bingxue smiled mischievously, a hint of cleverness in her eyes. Seeing Xia Bingshu's cheerful expression, Li Xuanle felt as if he had boarded a pirate ship. He suddenly felt a bit uneasy. Would he be sold by her and still count the money for her? Looking at her innocent demeanor, it shouldn't come to that. He turned to Zhao Hao. Damn, have we finished picking up the equipment? Big brother, we've finished picking. Let's continue. Zhao Hao looked around and found that there was nothing valuable left. Li Xuanle nodded and continued heading south. The three followed behind him without any pressure. The wind blew. The cold wind blew. The group pressed on against the cold wind. In the gray mist forest, many trial students heading south were confused. Why hadn't they seen any monsters along? They only saw some equipment that was still acceptable to them cruelly discarded on the ground. They happily picked up some equipment and adorned themselves with it. What's going on? Could it be that there are some powerful experts in the south who have slain everything in their path? This equipment is quite decent. Why was it left behind? It should be worth a few dozen or $100, right? Yes, if I pick up a dozen items, that would be enough for a month's living expenses. What a waste. Well, it's a good deal for us. Time flowed slowly. The Black and White Academy and the Tunglong Academy simultaneously commenced their outdoor trials. It was as if it had been agreed upon. Therefore, there were a large number of students undergoing trials in the gray mist forest. Outside the forest, only stronger experts and powerful teams would venture out to seek further trials. Students from the Black and White Academy wore black and white uniforms. The Tunglong Academy uniforms featured a soaring golden dragon pattern, while the Fengchu Academy uniforms displayed a chick phoenix pattern. 20 miles south of the gray mist forest. Big brother, how far south do we need to go? Zhao Hao's voice echoed at the edge of a ravine. Just go with the flow. Li Xuanle replied nonchalantly. I heard that the deeper you go, the more terrifying the monsters are. Zhao Hao was quite worried. Don't worry, there are no monsters I can't kill. Li Xuanle was unconcerned. But what if we encounter flying monsters? We might be at a disadvantage in terms of speed. Fortune favors the bold. What's there to be afraid of? Li Xuanle sat quietly by the ravine, gazing at the river's surface. Every few miles they would take down a wave of wild monsters, at least 10 in some cases, and up to hundreds in others. Among them were also several 3-star and 4-star boss. In total, they had defeated 7 waves of wild monsters. All had gone smoothly without any danger. Of course, he was the only one who was alarmed. The other 3 were merely helpers picking up equipment. They had collected 98 1-star items, 28 2-star items, 6 3-star items, and 2 4-star items. Moreover, all the equipment was above level 30. 6 level 5 equipment upgrade gems, 4 equipment stare-up gems, and 18 attribute gems. There were 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star items. Only half a day had passed. Li Xuanle had already grasped the situation regarding these gains. Surprisingly, Zhao Hao, Xia Bingxue, and Tan Huan were all astonished. Among them, Zhao Hao was the most surprised. Having seen so much 2-star and 3-star equipment, he had never encountered such before. Each piece of 2-star or 3-star equipment would cost at least several thousand to over 10,000. At this rate, a life of luxury was just around the corner. This big leg to hold onto was solid. He even thought that had he known today, he should have been more of a burden to Li Xuanle in the past. Thus, the relationship between the two would surely stabilize further. As for being a wealthy second generation, Xia Bingshu's perspective was completely different. After all, her family was in business. Even though she saw so much equipment, her heart was not particularly stirred. She was already accustomed to 1-star and 2-star equipment. However, she was particularly focused on 3-star and 4-star equipment. In the ordinary market, 4-star is top tier, 3-star is high, and 2-star is mid-tier, 1-star is basic, and no star is entry level. Equipment above 5 stars does not circulate in the ordinary market, but can only be found in auctions and top specialty stores. It can be said to be valuable yet scarce. It's worth noting that the sword control technique, a godly skill, is only 6 stars. 5-star equipment, gemstones, and skill books are extremely rare. They are extremely precious. Therefore, up until now, Li Xuanle had not encountered a single 5-star monster. Thus, he had not obtained any 5-star equipment. However, their levels had all increased. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan had already leveled up to level 21. Zhao Hao had reached level 29. Li Xuanle had reached level 30. While the group was resting, suddenly an urgent cry for help came from further south. Help! Save us! The cries for help sounded terrified and urgent. It seemed to be a male voice. The sound echoed continuously in the dark valley, causing unease. Li Xuanle immediately became alert, his expression serious, urging the 3 quick. Find a place to hide. Elder brother, aren't you going to hide? Zhao Hao nervously looked at Li Xuanle. Although they knew Li Xuanle was powerful, who knew what strange monsters might appear? What if an irresistible monster comes? Li Xuanle, why don't you hide too? Xia Bingxue said worriedly with Tan Huan nodding beside her. After all, the unknown danger is the most frightening. Surprisingly, Li Xuanle leisurely pulled out a piece of gum and began chewing. He was unhurried and nonchalant. "Me. I'm not afraid of anything. You don't need to worry about me." As someone with an immortal body, he indeed had no fear. His only concern was the pain from being injured, but it was merely discomfort. That was his only worry. Otherwise, he wouldn't consider fully investing in his physical. Zhao Hao and Xia Bingxue looked at Li Xuanle hesitantly. In contrast, Tan Huan was quite decisive. She glanced around, her eyes brightening as she spotted a large rock nearby. "There's a large rock over there with a hollow behind it. Let's hurry and hide there for a while." Li Xuanle nodded. "You go ahead, don't worry about me, I'm tough." "Elder brother, then we'll go hide." Zhao Hao spoke hurriedly. Li Xuanle nodded, crossing his arms. His expression was calm as water, exuding an air of complete control over everything. Seeing this, Zhao Hao and the others bent low and crept over. As Xia Bingxue walked, she muttered, "Zhao Hao, your elder brother is quite something." "Huh?" Zhao Hao was surprised by Xia Bingxue's sudden remark. "Strong, decisive, and courageous. I must say he's one of the best among our cohort." Xia Bingxue quietly. "Of course. My elder brother is extraordinary, a true dragon among men, a fine steed among horses." What a joke. Zhao Hao was bursting with pride, as if he were claiming such greatness for himself. "But he has a flaw that is quite annoying." Xia Bingxue gently "How could that be? My elder brother is simply perfect. What flaws could he have?" Zhao Hao argued. "He seems a bit cold." Xia Bingxue muttered. Tan Huan nodded repeatedly, like a chick pecking at rice. Zhao Hao was taken aback. It seemed there was some truth to that. Suddenly, he pondered, "I remember my elder brother once told me something that might relate to this." "What did he say?" Xia Bingxue asked in surprise. "A heart without women draws a sword like a god." Both Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan were left speechless. What kind of nonsensical theory was that? Moreover, he was a priest. What sword was he drawing? Li Xuanle turned his gaze toward the direction of the cries for help. A shadow rushed toward them swiftly. The speed was impressive. Li Xuanle could see that although the opponent was fast, they were still slower than himself. He gazed intently at the figure gradually coming into focus. It appeared to be a middle-aged man dressed in black with disheveled hair and a gaunt, rugged face, as if weathered by hardship. He had long noticed Li Xuanle, who was clad in white. The white was too easy to spot. He hurriedly ran up. "Help! Help!" When he saw Li Xuanle's appearance, his words came to an abrupt halt, as if caught in his throat. Disappointment washed over his face as he shook his head helplessly. "Seeing your age, are you a student?" "What's wrong with being a student?" Li Xuanle looked at him with interest. "Oh, I thought you were a high-level adventurer. Damn it." The middle-aged man sounded very frustrated. Li Xuanle immediately felt displeased. "Hey, don't underestimate me. I'm quite formidable." The middle-aged man's eyes lit up at this. "What's your profession?" "Priest." "Priest." His bright expression dimmed instantly. "Do you have any teammates?" "You tell me what's happening first. You never know." Li Xuanle replied nonchalantly. "You never know. This is ridiculous." The middle-aged man hesitated, looking at Li Xuanle. After a moment, he finally spoke. "My name is Qin Xuan, and I am a member of the Life and Death Adventure team. We are on a mission to clear out monsters from the farmland. You should know that farmland is very important as it relates to crops and food. But we encountered a very strong monster, and all my teammates are entangled by it in a dire situation. I thought you were a high-level adventurer." He sounded very frustrated, changing his tone. "I'm talking to a student. And a priest at that." Li Xuanle's eyes brightened. A strong game monster. Wasn't that exactly what he was looking for? The stronger the monster, the better the loot. He excitedly said, "So you need rescue." Qin Xuan nodded and prepared to turn and leave. He didn't believe a group of students could save them. Students are generally below level 30 and simply cannot defeat the powerful monsters they encountered. What a waste of time. At that moment, Li Xuanle saw the other preparing to leave and called out to him, "Wait, what level is that monster? How many stars?" Qin Xuan turned around. "Level 65, 5 stars, 1,000-year tree spirit." His tone was full of helplessness. Li Xuanle's heart swelled with joy. A 5-star monster is a rare find. I must go. He confidently stared at Qin Xuan. "Wait, I can save you, but whatever drops from the monster belongs to me." Qin Xuan was taken aback. What is this guy talking about? Kill. Loot. Did he not hear what he was saying? So he repeated, "Level 65, 5 stars, 1,000-year tree spirit. I know killing it means the loot is mine. Do you have a problem with that?" Li Xuanle reiterated his point. "What level?" 60 level. Li Xuanle told a lie. "How many?" Qin Xuan was very surprised. In his understanding, students were generally below level 30. 60 level. Li Xuanle said calmly. "You." Qin Xuan wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Li Xuanle. "Do you want to save them or not? You've been talking for a while, and when I say I can save them, I can." Qin Xuan seemed to have been hit with a silence spell, left speechless. He then said, "Then please follow me." Although he was skeptical about the other's ability to rescue, seeing the certainty in his eyes, he decided to give it a try. Thus, he quickly led the way ahead. Li Xuanle turned back to wave at Zhao Hao, and the others then followed along. Zhao Hao and the other 3 came out and followed. Qin Chuan noticed the three behind. Are those three your teammates? Yes, they are my teammates. You don't need to worry, just lead the way. Qin Chuan led the way with confusion. These people seemed to be students, but to him having more people was of no use. After all, that thousand-year tree spirit had dozens of tendrils. Its power was immense. He shook his head. There was no choice. No other adventurers had been found. Only a dead horse can be treated like a living one. Soon they arrived at a flat piece of farmland where various crops were planted. At the edge of the farmland stood a massive towering tree, lush with branches and leaves, its trunk actually writhing. Qin Chuan said solemnly, at this moment, be careful. This is the thousand-year tree spirit, just descended not long ago. Its attack range is about 200 meters, so be very cautious. Li Zunel's mouth curled up, revealing his white teeth. 200 meters. Piece of cake. Li Xuanle was filled with confidence, showing no signs of worry. He carefully examined the ancient tree spirit and its surroundings. The ancient tree spirit was old and mysterious, with rough, deep brown or gray skin, while its leaves were a deep green. On the tree there seemed to be a pair of deep green, eerie eyes filled with resentment, staring intently at Li Xuanle and the others. Everyone felt a chill creep up their spines, feeling a sense of dread. Around them it seemed that 5 or 6 people were completely ensnared by the tree spirit's thick vines. Among them were both men and women, gasping for breath as if caught by a constricting python. Their faces were already flushed. Qin Chuan looked panicked and immediately warned, this vine is extremely sturdy. As a level 58 swordsman, I can't cut through it at all. Be careful not to get entangled. Upon hearing this, Zhao Hao stepped back 2 paces. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan also retreated. They had indeed never encountered such a monstrous creature. This was actually a 5-star monster that would ensnare them upon getting close. It was too terrifying. Once caught, they would surely be unable to escape. If they died, it would truly be death. Thus they instinctively backed away. Meanwhile, Li Xuanle remained unfazed. He carefully checked the information about the ancient tree spirit. Ancient tree spirit, 5 stars, level 65 health, 106 morality, 0 intelligence, 180 stamina, 120 charm, 0 strength, 120 attack, 398 defense, 298 skill, 1 tree spirit earthquake. The ancient tree spirit triggers an earthquake, dealing damage and causing knockback to surrounding enemies. Skill 2, mad entanglement. This skill causes the ancient tree spirit to rapidly grow and ensnare enemies. Once ensnared, escape is impossible. Skill 3, endless life. The ancient tree spirit uses endless life to quickly absorb the life force of surrounding plants, restoring its own health. Brief introduction. It is said that in a remote village, an ancient tree underwent a millennium of cultivation and transformed into a tree spirit. However, due to its constant absorption of human blood and flesh and its witnessing of the evil faces of men, it corrupted its nature and became a 1,000-year tree demon. Anyone who approaches it will be ensnared, drained of life. Note: do not venture into its territory lightly, or you will meet a terrible end. Catchphrase: in my territory, you must listen to me. Endless life. Restoration. Isn't that like showing off a big knife in front of Guangong? Li Xuanle chuckled lightly. Then he gently waved the rather unremarkable staff in his hand, and a green light shot toward the distant ancient tree spirit. The ancient tree spirit's health began to drop at a rate of 1% per second. It seemed to sense danger and suddenly extended dozens or even hundreds of vines, thrashing wildly in the air. What is happening? Qin Chuan looked at this bizarre scene, feeling a bit at a loss. Li Xuanle did not answer him. In the next second, he waved his hand again, and another green light struck the ancient tree spirit. The spirit became even more frenzied. This also drove it into madness as light gradually swirled around the great tree, while the plants surrounding the spirit began to lose vitality. It seemed that all vitality was being absorbed by the ancient tree spirit. Li Xuanle continued to observe the spirit's health. Just a moment ago, the spirit's health shockingly recovered from 92 to 100. However, this had no effect on him whatsoever. In the next second, he waved his hand again, and another light of pale green struck the ancient tree spirit. One after another. In just a few breaths, the ancient tree spirit was stacked with 8 deadly halos. The ancient tree spirit went completely berserk. The number of vines on its branches decreased sharply, but their length grew wildly. In just a second or two, they exceeded 300 meters in length, and they were still rapidly increasing. Li Xuanle felt something was wrong and prepared to retreat immediately. But it was too late. The vines surged forward in the blink of an eye, entangling Li Xuanle, Qin Chuan, Zhao Hao, Xia Bingxue, and the others. Damn, why are these vines so long? Qin Chuan panicked. This ancient tree spirit's cultivation was too monstrous. He looked despairingly at Li Xuanle and Zhao Hao, not expecting to involve these students. At this moment, he felt extremely guilty. Damn, so terrifying. Big brother, save me. Zhao Hao was also panicking. Having never seen such a scene, this could be described as a disaster falling from the sky. He was being tightly constricted, and when he tried to break free, he realized it was impossible. What do we do? The 2 girls, Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan, were even more flustered. As girls, they were already frightened by such things. When they saw that even Li Xuanle was entangled, their faces turned pale. At this moment, only Li Xuanle remained calm. Although he was ensnared by the great tree, he showed no signs of worry. He spoke calmly, "Don't panic, stay calm, it's about to die. 3, 2, 1, die." As soon as Li Xuanle's words fell, the ancient tree spirit's frenzied movements came to an abrupt halt, and its body began to shrink, collapsing like a tall building. The vines all seemed to dehydrate rapidly, drying up and shrinking. All those who had been ensnared found that the vines around them, like plastic, broke apart with a gentle tug. Everyone seemed to have survived a disaster, their expressions somewhat dazed. Only Li Xuanle quickly got up and approached the trunk of the ancient tree spirit. He saw several items that had burst out and immediately picked them all up. There were gems, skill books, and equipment. After he finished collecting a few items, the others finally came to their senses. Qin Chuan's eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at Li Xuanle. "You really killed this ancient tree spirit? What's so strange about that?" Li Xuanle was unconcerned. "If there are any other difficult monsters, I can handle them, but on the condition that the dropped items belong to me. For now, I haven't encountered any." Qin Chuan shook his head. "Those kinds of things are hard to survive if encountered." After Qin Chuan finished speaking, he immediately helped the other team members who were on the verge of collapse. Then he took out some potions from his character's backpack and administered them one by one. He suddenly remembered that Li Xuanle seemed to be a priest and immediately asked, "Did you learn healing spells?" "Yes. Can you help us with a healing spell?" Qin Chuan pointed at several teammates on the brink of collapse. "No problem." Li Xuanle readily agreed. Based on the principle that saving a life is worth more than building a 7-story pagoda, he cast a healing spell on each of them. However, the effect was quite minimal. "Brother, your healing spell doesn't seem to have much effect." Qin Chuan's face changed color. It's a long story, so let's not get into it." Li Xuanle smiled awkwardly. However, even though the effect was minimal, Li Xuanle had saved their entire team, and Qin Chuan spoke respectfully, "Thank you very much for saving us." Li Xuanle gently shook his head. "It's a small matter. Let's go." After saying that, he waved his hand, signaling Zhao Haoxia, Bingxue, and the others to leave. Qin Chuan, seeing that they were about to leave, immediately asked, "Priest, may I ask what your name is?" "Zhao Ritian." Upon hearing this, Qin Chuan murmured, "Zhao Ritian. What a domineering name, no wonder it's so impressive." Level 35-star skill, Wind of Resurrection. After the group walked far away, Xia Bingxue walked while covering her chest, gasping, and said to Li Xuanle with lingering fear, "Your poison is truly fierce." She recalled the scene of being ensnared by the ancient tree spirit's vines, her emotions still unsettled. That was indeed a life-and-death moment. That was close. Very close. Just beginning the prime of youth. At that moment, she felt that apart from life and death, everything else was trivial. Beside her, Tan Huan was also shaken, nodding repeatedly. "This ancient tree spirit is outrageous. The vines can reach such a distance. If it weren't for Li Xuanle's poison being so powerful, we would probably have been done for." Li Xuanle looked indifferently into the distance. "It's nothing special. Come on, can you be a bit more modest?" Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan immediately began to criticize. Li Xuanle raised an eyebrow, unconcerned. "Modesty? Sorry, the word modesty doesn't exist in my dictionary." The two beautiful girls fell silent. "I've seen thick-skinned people, but I've never seen anyone this thick-skinned." At this moment, Zhao Hao, who seemed to have been holding back for a long time, asked in confusion, "Big brother, why did that person ask for your name, but you gave my nickname?" Li Xuanle chewed on his gum, raising the corner of his mouth. "You guess." "I can't guess." Zhao Hao shook his head repeatedly. "I just think your nickname is quite domineering." Li Xuanle smiled faintly. Zhao Hao pouted, feeling a bit frustrated, clearly aware that he was being mocked. He then immediately asked the question he was very concerned about. "Big brother, did that ancient tree spirit drop anything good?" "Wait, let me check." Li Xuanle immediately checked upon hearing this. After a moment, he laughed heartily. 2 pieces of 5-star equipment, a 5-star labor attribute gem, and a 5-star skill book. "What equipment is there?" "What is the skill book?" Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan eagerly asked. There was no need to mention the 5-star labor attribute gem. It was definitely a 25 labor attribute, at least worth 30 to 40,000, but compared to the equipment and skill book, it was clearly not as intriguing. Li Xuanle directly posted the information of the 2 pieces of equipment and the skill book. Ancient Willow Staff, 5 stars, level requirement 60 intelligence, 180 stamina, 60 charm, 10 strength, 10 note. This staff is transformed from the body of the tree spirit, possessing powerful magic. It can make your magic even stronger. Ancient Willow Necklace, 5 stars, level requirement 60 intelligence, 120 stamina, 30 charm, 5 strength, 5 note. This necklace is transformed from the body of the tree spirit, possessing powerful magic. It can make your magic even stronger. Skill name Wind of Resurrection, class requirement, priest level requirement, unlimited skill effect. Cast this skill on a level 1 targets, which can restore a certain amount of health to the targets. The higher the user's intelligence, the better the effect. The skill has a cooldown of 10 seconds, with a casting range of level 1 meters. Skill level 5 stars. Li Xuanle looked at the skill book with burning eyes. In the next second he used it without hesitation as it was quite a good item. After all, he was a healer and needed to have some special skills. Poison healing, even if it's toxic, it should also have healing. The only healing spell he previously possessed was a beginner skill that could only restore a small amount to a single target, which was quite weak. Moreover, since he hadn't invested in intelligence, he sometimes felt embarrassed to use healing spells. But this Wind of Resurrection skill was different. 5 stars. And it was a group heal. He naturally wouldn't let it slip by. He waved his staff with satisfaction, and a gentle breeze swept over, instantly refreshing everyone. Zhao Hao looked invigorated. Big brother, just now I felt like there was a breeze. It felt like spring. Of course, what I just used was the 5-star skill Wind of Resurrection that blew you guys the wind. Li Xuanle's expression remained calm. Zhao Hao suddenly realized that the breeze just now felt a bit different. At this time, Xia Bingxue looked at the staff and necklace, swallowing her saliva. Clearly she had her eyes set on those 2 pieces of equipment. After all, a mage is most in need of top-tier staff equipment. 5 stars are considered priceless in the market. Both of these are 5-star equipment, and each piece can also be embedded with 5 attribute gems. If the 2 pieces of equipment are embedded with the most ideal 5-star attribute gems, they could add up to 250 points of intelligence. This is an immense temptation for a mage. However, Xia Bingxue considered that these 2 pieces of equipment were obtained by Li Xuanle, and theoretically, he could also use them. Tan Huan immediately saw Xia Bingxue's thoughts and spoke for her. Li Xuanle, can those 2 pieces of equipment be sold to Bingxue? Li Xuanle, who was happily thinking about the skill Wind of Resurrection, was taken aback by this question. He looked over the equipment again. 5 stars. Quite good. If it were for an ordinary person, this would definitely be excellent equipment. But considering the level 60 requirement, he felt it didn't match him. Not to mention level 60, he felt he would soon get 6-star or even higher star equipment. Moreover, he currently couldn't even use this equipment as there was a 30-level gap. He thought about letting it go, but he couldn't just give it away so casually. So he said calmly, I'm a bit fond of such top-tier equipment too. Tan Huan smiled at Li Xuanle. With your abilities, you might be able to acquire 5-star or 6-star equipment in a few days. Why bother quibbling over equipment with a weak girl? You can't say that. What if I can't get it? Li Xuanle shook his head lightly. Tan Huan seemed to see through Li Xuanle's cautiousness. Is there no room for negotiation? It's not that there isn't. This level of equipment is rare and hard to come by. If you want it, how about I sell it to you at market? Tan Huan turned to Xia Bingxue. Bingxue, how much is the market price for these 2 pieces of equipment? It's hard to say. The 2 pieces might be worth 100 to 200, mainly because 5-star equipment is hard to come by and the price fluctuates greatly. Xia Bingxue pondered for a moment, then uncertainly said, how about a friendly price of 150? Tan Huan tentatively suggested. Li Xuanle thought for a while. In fact, he could sell it for a higher price, but that would require comparing prices everywhere, which would be quite troublesome. Additionally, considering that Xia Bingxue would be his long-term partner, 150 was acceptable. Alright, 150 it is. Li Xuanle handed the 2 pieces of equipment to Xia Bingxue. She joyfully received the equipment, looking at Li Xuanle with delight. Thank you so much. Xia Bingxue felt a bit embarrassed upon hearing this. She didn't have that much money with her. After hesitating for a moment, she candidly said, I didn't bring that much money with me. Can I pay you back later? She frowned slightly, pulling at the corners of her mouth, and said, don't worry, I'll pay you back as soon as I get home. I have a good reputation. She smiled and glanced at Li Xuanle, gently placing the equipment into her character's backpack. Sure, no rush. Li Xuanle, however, was completely unconcerned, appearing indifferent. He looked to the south, lost in thought, and said, let's go, there's wealth waiting for us. After saying that, he took long strides, walking confidently southward. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan immediately followed suit, while Zhao Hao cheerfully trailed behind them. They occasionally checked the messages in the Academy's WeChat group. In the group, students undergoing trials would sometimes post pictures of bizarre monsters they encountered. There were skeleton monsters, zombie monsters, bone spirits, ferocious beasts. Some pictures were taken in eerie and terrifying settings, scaring some timid girls in the group. Suddenly, a message caught everyone's attention, a shocking revelation. I just saw Lin Yu and Li Chun. What? No way. There must be proof. Don't just talk nonsense. It's true. Look, this is the picture I took. Wow, is it really them? Lin Yu has a strong desire to win. Li Chun must have been forced into the PK. Bro, I don't know. They fought and then went far away, but I saw Li Chun actually flying with a sword. Flying with a sword. Sword technique. If I remember correctly, Li Chun's family isn't wealthy. How could he afford the 6-star sword technique? Don't forget, he has a hidden class, Sword Saint, which has a chance to automatically learn some advanced skills. I almost forgot about that. Bro, where are you? I want to go check it out. Currently in the southeast, but I won't know later. In the wild trials, the academy did not prohibit fighting, so PK fights in the wild were common. After all, this is a real world, and experiencing real combat helps students develop their character. The academy only emphasized that one should not kill without reason. If the other party wants to kill you, you can still fight back, even kill them. The premise is that you must have evidence. Otherwise, the academy cannot speak for you, and the Summer Kingdom's law enforcement may take you away. The situation becomes problematic thereafter, unless you are powerful enough that the Summer Kingdom's law enforcement cannot do anything to you, or you stay in the wild long term, which greatly reduces the chances of getting caught. However, the wild has a harsh survival environment, and one misstep could lead to being killed by monsters. Thus, even many offenders prefer not to stay in the wild unless they are left with no other choice. As Zhao Hao walked, he kept an eye on the messages in the group. Big brother, the group says Lin Yu and Li Chun have clashed, but we don't know who is stronger, and I heard Li Chun can use sword technique. Li Xuanla slowed his pace, raising an eyebrow. Lin Yu and Li Chun. Sword technique. He knew a little about these two, but not much. He was somewhat familiar with Lin Yu, having sparred with him. He was someone with a strong desire to win. But Li Chun was a very low-key person and had a calm demeanor, much like a hermit. Before he changed to a hidden class, Li Chun was quite unknown. Therefore, Li Xuanla didn't know him too well. However, he knew that Guan Shanyue valued and recognized him, which indicated that Li Chun indeed had some skills. However, he didn't pay much attention to their competition, as neither could beat him anyway. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan were also quite surprised, completely not expecting Lin Yu and Li Chun to fight. Their gazes turned to Li Xuanla, speculating on the strength of Li Chun, and Li Xuanla wondering who would have the upper hand. After all, if Li Chun could use sword technique, then his speed would certainly be terrifying. In comparison, Li Zunel's speed might be quite lacking. If that's the case, in their clash, both should end up severely. According to their speculation, before Li Chun could kill Li Xuanla would definitely be able to afflict Li Chun with a couple of poison rings, so he would surely be doomed. There's also one more point. It depends on the range of Li Chun's sword technique and Li Xuanla's poison release distance, which one is further. The one with the longer range has the advantage. Perhaps only Li Xuanla himself knows that he is invincible. Don't forget, his strongest trait is his immortal body. This secret is known only to him. He is not afraid of death. Increasing his speed is just to reduce injuries. Li Xuanla, do you think you can defeat Li Chun? Xia Bingxue asked, curiously probing. Li Chun. Don't mention Li Chun. Even if you combine Li Chun and Lin Yu, they still can't beat me. Li Xuanla laughed heartily, showing no regard for them. Tan Huan sighed nearby. Look, Zhao Hao, see how confident your big brother is. You need to learn more from him. Although Zhao Hao thought Li Xuanla was somewhat exaggerating as a brother, he had to support him. Of course, even if they team up, they can't beat big brother. I need to learn that slowly. Zhao Hao was quite perceptive. He knew to hold on to this big brother tightly. At this moment, even a fool knew what to say. Even if Li Zunel's words were exaggerated, he would definitely not tear him down in front of outsiders. After Zhao Hao spoke, he looked at Li Xuanla. Right. Big brother. Not bad, your words are very insightful. Li Xuanla praised with a grin. Isn't it easy to jinx oneself by making such bold claims? Tan Huan murmured softly. It's non-existent. Li Xuanla replied confidently. Time slowly passed. Li Xuanla led the three of them on a monster-clearing spree. They encountered a 5-star monster along the way, but it still couldn't last 2 minutes. They looted 3 pieces of 5-star equipment and a star upgrade gem. Quite valuable. Their character backpacks were filled to the brim. 198 1-star equipment pieces, 68 2-star equipment pieces, 26 3-star equipment pieces, 9 4-star equipment pieces, and 5 5-star equipment pieces. There were also many upgrade gems, star upgrade gems, and attribute gems. This made Xia Bingxue very happy. This was just the first day. There were still over 10 days to go. At this rate, they might run out of space in their bags. She was already imagining how surprised her father would be when she presented these items to him. Meanwhile, everyone's levels had also improved. However, as teacher Tang Wu said, it's easy to level up before level 30, but after level 30, leveling slows down. Xia Bingxue and Tan Huan reached level 27. Zhao Hao and Li Xuanla were at levels 31 and 32, respectively. Li Xuanla estimated that at this rate, in half a month, they would probably only reach level 40. There was a possibility they might not even make it, as the experience required increases significantly as levels rise. As night fell, the day was coming to an end unknowingly. Tan Huan expressed some concern. Li Xuanla, we are already 50 miles south. Shouldn't we consider finding a safe place to spend the night? Before Li Xuanla could respond, Zhao Hao spoke up first. That's for sure. Let's keep an eye out for any sheltered spot. After spending half an hour, they found a sizable cave that could accommodate 7 or 8 people. Li Xuanla pondered briefly and decided, let's stay here. The others readily agreed. This place had a cave entrance large enough for 2 or 3 people, with the interior entirely made of stone walls, serving as a natural shelter. They only needed to keep an eye on the entrance, so there was no need to worry about any issues. Just as they were preparing to take a short break, suddenly, a bright light appeared outside the cave.